Check. All right, sound good? Yeah. Okay. Let me hear you, Anthony.
Yep, you good?
Yeah. Can you turn us up both a little bit? All right, that's good.
Perfect.
Yeah, that sounds good, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we sound like men.
Right?
We actually sound like men. We figured out how to put the bass on the audio after 2.5 years. Only took 2.5 years.
That's it.
Yeah, all right, we got Anthony Longo back again on short notice. Thank you so much for your time, man.
Yeah, dude, no problem, man. Thanks for having me back.
Warriors Foundation.
Yeah.
I love the red, man. That really does
Yeah.
stick out.
Dude, thanks, man.
Yeah, and bringing the dogs in. We had Natalia, who's a behavioral psychologist scientist. I think that's how you say it.
Okay.
And she was actually the person prior to that. So if she Johnson, and they have a depression drug or whatever new thing it is now, they give it to her after the case studies, and then she tries to wrap it in a package that looks good to present to the FDA.
Yep.
So as time went on, she saw a lot of vets really needing help, but in her therapy area of it. But, you know, when she would go to them and say, hey, maybe you need a little help, that was it, like done for, whatever. So she kept studying and studying. So when she would approve these drugs or submit these drugs for approval that are just Band-Aids, she kept seeing psychedelics, mushrooms, and the studies, John Hopkins, these major places.
Yep.
And she couldn't tolerate but to not look further into it. So she talked more and more to people, more and more and more. And then one of her friends went to this big conference down here for this whole thing.
I think Wonderland in Miami.
Wonderland,
right?
Miami. Yeah. And she took a good friend of mine, Jay Savino there,
Okay.
who runs Potions in Motion.
Okay.
So, you know, he's a betting guy, Italian guy. He's like us.
Yeah.
He's not, I don't know that he was real ready for what he was walking into, you know? So he walks in and they were doing the one that you puke, which is the one that,
well,
ergot.
I mean, you got ayahuasca where you can purge, and then you got ibogaine. I don't know ibogaine's so bad, but I know 5-MeO is definitely one that you can.
I want to say it was ergot or one of them.
Okay.
So Jay's there, and he's just there, and he's running the bar and everything. And these guys keep coming up to him and saying, hey, we need buckets. And they're like, what do you need buckets for? Oh, they're going to puke. And Jay's like, what do you mean they're going to puke? Like, how many buckets do you need for people to puke? They're not even drinking that much. And they're like, oh, no, part of, you know, one of the things is, you know, when you do it, you puke first, and then you head off to Wonderland. So she starts going to all these conferences and literally pretty much in so many words, I don't want to like speak for her, resigns from all that and goes into her own lane to study this because she was really, really sick. And all the doctors said, you know, you got 3 months, you got 6 months. And she took a ton of turkey tail, this one particular brand of turkey tail, and some other things. But the main thing was the turkey tail. And in 3 months, she went back perfectly cured. And from that point on, she changed everything to going deeper into this with, you know, her degrees and really studying it. And she just cannot get over the amount of benefit from this stuff, and then yet they hide it like crazy.
Yeah. Doesn't make any money.
No.
Because if you're not sick, how are you going to make money?
Right.
You know, I think the healthcare model right now is, hey, let's throw shit at the wall with sticks and, you know, go from there. And then, you know, instead of finding out what's beneficial, it's kind of like I don't want to say an experiment, but it's definitely something where, hey, this is a protocol. It's in line. Let's just go and see whether it works or doesn't work. If not, okay, we'll try something different. So.
And I really think, just from doing this podcast, is you have 3 types of doctors. You have a doctor that is a doctor and reads the new research and doesn't care about insurance and billing, and this is the way it is, and they fix things, right? And then you have the other 2 types of doctors, the doctors that aren't up to date on the literature. They literally don't know. You know, they've been doing it 50 years, and they just don't know, and they just go with what they've always gone with.
Yep.
And then you have the other one that sees the money from billing, you know, which is probably the majority, in my opinion. And think of when you go to the doctor. Do they ever fix anything? Is anything ever fixed?
Yeah. I mean, I've had some really good doctors, and I've had some really, really terrible ones at the same time, you know, and I think it's across the board where there's only, I guess they're just handcuffed and hamstrung and only what they can do. And it's hard to see because it's like you would hope that they would see outside of the box based on just what is the evidence and information that's in front of you. And to not explore that, I think it's, you know, it's negatively impacting the ability to treat patients with something that is just a little bit more holistic, or just something that is a little bit outside the box that could possibly have therapeutic effects. I mean, you know, obviously the Hippocratic Oath is something that they, you know, abide by up until COVID, where it's just like, yeah, you know, let's just go ahead and take this jab and we'll worry about it later. But, you know, by the way, we're not going to be liable for anything that's going to happen. So once you started seeing, you know, a lot of the after effects of what happened there, it's just kind of like, oh, sorry, don't know. But hey, we're going to go do this. And, you know, as they start ramping up, there's going to be another crazy pandemic and the zombie thing down in, you know, Antarctica. It's just like, what the fuck, dude, what are you fucking talking about? Like, where are you getting this stuff? Like, we know something's going to happen soon. I mean, it's writing's on the wall. Election year's around the corner. So let's just brace for impact. And, you know, if Vegas has odds on something, let's go ahead and, you know, get.
Do they have odds on a new pandemic?
We'll see.
They
I mean,
will.
why not? Like, you know, let's do it.
I want to get back to this, but
Yeah.
mention something. So you're the guy to ask. Why the fuck can't we go to Antarctica? What's over there, Anthony? Tell me. I know you're retired, you're out. What the fuck is in Antarctica that we can't fly there and no one can go there? Is that where the reptilians are at?
It's a space that's unknown, and you know, I don't know that much other than it's just a research hub.
A research hub, huh?
So,
in your opinion, from being you know, a Marine veteran with combat, what do you think that means?
you know, yeah, I guess there's just you know, something worth exploring down there that our government says, hey guys, taxpayers don't worry about it, but we're gonna just go ahead and do X, Y, Z.
But nobody else could go.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, don't send anybody there.
Yeah, in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
kind of crazy.
Yeah,
yeah, but that's what happened with her. So, and I say, like, if like I'm a dummy, we would be considered dummies, right? If we could figure out that there's other ways that actually fix things, that if you have anxiety, Klonopin, Xanax is not fixing you.
Yeah.
You're going to take, in my opinion, Klonopin's fine, but Xanax, you know, you're going to need something to come off of that.
Yeah.
And then when you come off of whatever that is, you're going to need that. And it's just this trickle effect over and over and over. And it just seems to me like depopulation. I just don't. Or
they just want you in a just this state of I don't want to say this paralyzed state, but just this zoned out state that it's here's what we want to feed you, and this is what we're going to give you. So we're going to just keep you in this, you know, sedated state of like, you know, oh, it's not really happening, but let me just cope with this because this is the normal. And it's just kind of like, I don't think so.
But they know it's not the normal. So then when you add in the woke bullshit and the divide of everything as a whole, it just seems like we want to get rid of the middle class, the lower class, and keep the upper.
Well, yeah.
I don't know.
Rich want money, they want power, and, you know, that right there is ego-driven. And, you know, you look at that vertical and how that's worked out for, Rome, you know, over time. So, you know, it's just a matter of time before, you know, things go in an opposite direction, because history repeats itself for sure, especially when it comes down to, you know, human behavior and all of that. So, you know,
now when you got out, and I kind of asked you before, but when you got out, so you got out, what year did you get out? What year?
2000. Well, I took terminal 2007.
2007?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you first got out, I remember you saying that the only thing they offered you was like an outpatient class type, not outpatient like that, but
like a transition course where it's like, hey, here's what you're expected to do. Here's where you're going to go. Here's like a, you know, resume class to help you build out your resume for what you have done and what you've accomplished. And then from there, you know, here's your medical record. And then, hey, good luck. We're just kind of like, okay, so I'm supposed to learn all this in 3 days. Roger that.
Is that what it is, really, 3 days?
Well, it's 5 days in total, 2 days of like, I think 2 days of SEPs and then 3 days of TAPS.
Wait, so you're a combat Marine in combat?
Well, no, we were home now at this point.
I know, but I'm saying like prior, you were involved with combat.
Yeah.
Combat, you're a Marine. You come back and you get 1 week of classes to adjust to normal life.
And then I out-processed, I think, like a month later.
Holy moly.
I was just like, all right, cool, sweet, yeah. I'll figure it out.
And now, from what you know now today, what do they do now today? When you're released now, do they do the same thing, or they just say, "Oh, go home. What's your address?"
There's still kind of the same procedure in place, but I think they've taken note and they've recognized that there needs to be more of a transition phase to where they kind of implement that maybe 6 or 7 months out prior to, if they know, hey, this dude's not re-enlisting, let's go ahead and start and begin the process now and try to get them services and where they need to be. Most of the dudes that I've spoken to, even now, the SF world was way different, and I am not that. I was, straight ground side in the Marine Corps, and but to see the difference of how those individuals are out processed as opposed to some of the just general conventional military personnel, it is still a little bit different, just because there is access to more funding and more things that they could possibly do. I mean, at this point, it's there's no rhyme or reason why we can't do it, but at the same time, the retention and what it is in the service now is down at an all-time low. So it's
right. Like nobody wants to go in the service.
I don't think so. No.
What does China do? When somebody in China or Russia, when they serve their military time and they're done,
yeah,
how do they take care of their people?
Dude, I have no idea on that front, man. Like that's just all I know is what China does is they just copy, replicate, and spit out everything that we're doing. So I couldn't imagine it be much better over there.
I think they do. See if you can Google that. What does China do with their vets?
Yeah.
Because I bet you they do. I bet you they take care of their vets, because they make you turn off your phone at 6 p.m. over there. If you got kids and you're under 17, no social media for you.
Yeah.
You're getting a different TikTok than you are over here than there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So they set those kids up,
yeah,
ready to go. So I think as long as they didn't do anything, if they're not perfect, they probably hang them, But if they are, I bet
or just being a sweat cam making Nikes.
Or making Nikes, right. Or they actually take care of them, because they fought a war.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to see, but I can't imagine. While he's doing that, did you see the Tucker Putin?
I thought it was great.
I thought it was too.
I thought it was great. It puts a lot into perspective. So it's sponsored by Warriors Choice Foundation. My name is Anthony Longo. I am the president and founder. Please go ahead and check us out at www.warriorschoice.org or find us on Instagram at Warriors Choice Foundation. So we have some events coming up in Jupiter, Florida at Carlin Park, April 6th and April 7th. It's a 2-day CrossFit competition, and our next main event will be at Trump National Jupiter, where it is a golf tournament, Fairways to Freedom Golf Classic, on November 17th through 18th. We really look forward to people sponsoring and being a part of this and helping us provide and continuing services for combat vets and our programs that we're offering. Thank you so much.
This episode is brought to you by Fiji. More than just water.
This is not just rock. It's ancient volcanic rock that filters tropical rain, giving it double the electrolytes and its signature soft, smooth taste. It's not just water. It's Fiji water.
China's 57 million military veterans in line for better support. Fucking ads. China is for the first time training public officials to serve ex-service personnel as permanent civil servants under ministry. It sounds like you're right that they're just doing what we do, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm wrong.
Yeah, for as far as some of the veterans that they have, because I mean it's just small nation in that sense of just
who are they fighting
alongside us? It's like
they're not
little brother.
Well, what do they need?
Yeah.
What do they need help for? Just to put the uniform on.
Right. Some of those dudes are pretty bad dudes, so it's just like you look at some of the retirement benefits and packages that those dudes have, and it's just like It's very interesting to see how some other countries are dealing with their veterans as opposed to what our country is doing now, where, the infrastructure is there in place, but it's just nothing is being done about it.
And why? Why would they do that? Do they have something over there in Antarctica that they have confidence that they don't need people as much?
Dude, guess
self-sabotage? I
have no idea.
Could you ever imagine
brain trust
this
that's in
happening?
charge of this? I have no clue. I don't even. To be honest, man, I don't even really watch the news too much anymore, just to kind of have the ability, like, because where my focus is, and you know, with the organization, it's just I haven't had a moment to really even try to even digest what's happening out there, because to me, it's just like, you know, not my circus, not my monkey kind of thing, where, you know, I just want to stay focused on my target, hit my benchmarks, and try to help those that I can, who want to be helped, and to build out something that could combat this issue that we face with transitioning, you know, from combat veterans to veterans in general, because, you know, the studies show it's not really combat veterans that are committing suicide and doing, you know, all of this self-harm, but it's those that have not experienced that, you know, and the percentages I don't have off the top of my head, but I can easily give you guys the information. But it's just like, that's an alarming thing too, where it's like, wait a second. You know, so what are we doing, you know, as a nation? Even if you start looking at, you know, first responders, law enforcement guys, like, you know, same church, different pew, as far as what they have to deal with on the psychosocial traumas of what they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. You know, and how do you bridge that gap? How do you create a system that's more along the lines of, you know, preventative than reactive?
Right.
How do we work towards something where we can get in front of it and we're actively trying to engage in it, rather than, we'll just deal with it when we need to deal with it.
Yeah.
Right now we're good. It's just like, I don't think so.
And like when I was growing up, if you were bad, your dad or your grandpa, he's going into the service. Got to straighten him out.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
And now they come. You know, I know kids in, you know, say 20 years younger than me. They come out. They're no different.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they didn't get taught a lesson to buckle their pants, pull their pants up to their waist.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Whereas before, you'd see motherfuckers come out and they'd be.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
Over.
Yeah.
But with Putin, what I thought, and I'll get killed for this, but I thought he made a lot of sense. I mean, he came in there and I don't understand, you know, he wanted to tell Tucker about the history.
Yeah.
You never hear anybody from the U.S. wanting to tell the history of the U.S. because they don't know it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when he starts talking, like Tucker had asked him, you know, about China going after us. And Putin's like, why would they go after the U.S.? Like, that's their economy. All the chips. Okay, so they blow the U.S. up so that they could say that they're number one.
Yep.
Okay, well, the U.S. runs their economy.
Yeah.
Right? That does make sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then he asked him, Putin, you know, are you going to, after Ukraine, are you going to go to Poland and this and that? And Putin's like, why would I do that? Why would I want to start all that? Why would I want to go do that? Why?
Yeah.
Why? Why would I? And he's going on and on. That is making me believe in, to me, he had good foundation to say, like, it's all propaganda.
Yeah.
You know, you're throwing in billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine to go at him for what, in my opinion, is his. That's like if Mexico took Texas.
Yeah.
What do you think we would do? We would go, if Mexico had a weak president in there, we would go take Texas back, right?
Yeah.
And then Russia decides to step in, that they have nothing to do with this, and arm Mexico with fucking missiles and machines and billions of dollars. Okay, if that's not propaganda, I don't know what is.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when he started talking about the oil pipeline, and he was just like, well, who has the tech to do that?
Right. Like, can you pull that up on the Putin, and we'll go through some of the talking points and see what was your take from that? Do you think he was full of shit? Do you think he had a lot of truth, a game?
I mean, I take it with a grain of salt, right? You know, I look at it and say, all right, where are we at? And this is my opinion. I am by no means some expert in the field, but it's
and we're not Putin fans. We're just saying that some of the things you said made some sense.
He had some valid points where it's just like, all right, that kind of makes sense. Like, I can see that, like, you know, so yeah.
So right here was one of the Putin claims Clinton flip-flopped on Russia joining the election.
Yeah.
Putin revealed that at some point former U.S. President Bill Clinton told him that Russia would have an opportunity to be welcomed into a military alliance to NATO. Do you think that's true?
I don't see why it wouldn't be.
Okay, go down to the next one. Keep going down. Putin says Russia is open to releasing Wall Street Journal journalists. Putin said that it might be possible to free Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Grinkovich, who is awaiting trial on spying charges in exchange for a Russian prisoner. So, I mean, if he's offering to do it, they haven't had any talks. And hold it right there, Scott.
And the dude, he was betting, right? What was the thing behind that? He gambled or did something, made a donation or something like that.
Yeah. It was like
rolled them up.
Yeah, you know what he did? He was asking for donations for Ukraine.
Yeah.
And then they rolled him up. And then remember when they went and got the NBA player, the woman,
For smoking weed.
but they left the Marine there.
Mm-hmm.
They left the Marine there. We'll get his name. I have it. So she went there to make money with Russia, right?
Yeah.
She knows the weed is illegal there. He went there for us, right?
Yeah.
As for the United States. I understand it looks better for TV, but when you get the Marine that you sent there first, then work on getting like not that they all shouldn't be back and it shouldn't have happened to any of them, but when you get the one that you sent there, not the ones that got on a plane by themselves to go there, I don't know. Scroll down to the next one.
Makes too much sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like Putin's like making a lot of sense. Putin called any U.S. military support of Ukraine a provocation. Only in one case, if Poland attacks Russia. Why? Because we have no interest in Poland, Latvia, or anywhere else. And then, he went on to explain why, too.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that? I mean, I don't think he's bullshitting there.
No, I think, that's his position. That's his place to say, at that point, it's like, hey, look, if you guys are coming over here to do X, Y, and Z, then there is an effort to where I am going to be offensive, and that's it. This is the line in the sand.
But he's not trying to go for Poland and everywhere else. He doesn't want that. Go down to the next one. I just, who blew up the Nord Stream, Putin suggested was the CIA. That's what you were referring to earlier. Putin also blamed the CIA for the explosions of the Nord Stream pipelines, cutting off major route for Russia gas exports to Europe and fueling geopolitical tensions. And didn't that switch now where they're just doing it with China rather than us?
Yeah.
So we're just making China richer by cutting that off.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's 5 things. I mean, there's more, but he's not lying.
Yeah, dude, I thought the interview was great. It was very enlightening. He hit on things where it's just like, you have to take swallow a hard truth pill. Like, all right, wait a second. What's really going on? What are the dynamics? What are the shifts? What are the, the economical impacts? How are they positioning themselves? And what really is that trickle down effect of that conflict and that war over there? And why are we, Hawaii almost burnt down, and we only sent $8 million to Hawaii, and we're sending billions to Ukraine.
Like, and isn't that funny? But we went into that. I had a specialist on from Hawaii, and that's all oceanfront.
Yeah,
and all of it burnt down until where Oprah was and The Rock, and a couple. But that whole oceanfront. Well, that oceanfront, like here we have like Indian land where they have their own cops, nobody can just go in there and build anything. Well, that ocean front would say like a Hawaiian territory, but if it burns down, it's nobody's territory. So now think how much money they're going to make building oceanfront properties. I mean, that's a conspiracy.
And that was a power line, like it was down, it was a short that caused the fire, I think. It
was like one of those things that you go, okay, a single power line burnt down an entire beachfront of 70,000 football fucking fields.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, those poor people, man. The relief that should have been sent there.
They didn't get anything.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And how about Ohio? The shit that happened in Ohio. You see that?
No.
So what? Do you know about that?
No, I don't know either.
Okay, so in Ohio, I want to say it was a train or a truck. A train or a truck. This is how bad the shit is. A train or a truck, see if you can find that. Say disaster in Ohio.
Isn't that where it spilled? It spilled like a bunch of toxic chemicals.
Right.
And they said it wasn't toxic.
Yeah, they said it wasn't toxic.
Shit, people
but they go ask them and they're like, we haven't been able to breathe in a fucking year.
Yeah.
Our kids are breathing this shit. They're doing air tests left and right. And Biden goes out a year later and goes, we didn't forget about you. No one left behind. And keeps it moving.
Well, look at his ice cream cone.
Yeah, like his fucking like getting ready to go to the beach.
Wow.
Hey, you see his cue cards that they give him?
No.
It's fucking wild. Okay,
there
the
it is, yeah.
derailment occurred February 3rd. 38 car. Yeah, this is it. Of Norfolk freight train carrying hazardous materials derailed in East Palestine, Ohio. Several rail cars burned for more than 2 days, with emergency crews then conducting a controlled burn of several rail cars, which released hydrogen chloride, phosgene into the air, all kinds of shit that really messes you up. And they didn't do anything.
That's wild.
But they sent $3 billion over to Ukraine. That's what just
Makes sense.
like, look at all that shit that went in there.
It's unbelievable.
Chloride. Oh boy. You want to go to Ohio, Scott?
I'm good here.
I heard they got good pizza.
I don't like the
Roger
weather.
Stone.
Right?
I know. I ran from that place. But you know, like you see this and it just gets buried, buried.
Yeah.
I don't get it, man.
That's why, dude, I turned off the news. I hate to sound like that guy, but you know, at the end of the day, dude, I was just I couldn't let that stuff kind of eat away at me. Where this is a constant thing. This isn't something that's just now happening. Like, this has been something that's steadily gotten progressively worse and worse over time. Where I'm just like, all right, when's the next round coming so we can get this shit on the road? Or
if you watch the news, the new calm Anthony, walks on the grass, looks at the stars. After about a week, the old Anthony's coming back. He's going to looking for that uniform.
Yeah, this is
It's
wild.
Cleaning the gun. He's ready to go after watching that shit for 2 weeks.
I stopped watching news too.
Did you?
Yeah. I can't take it. It's terrible.
It's
There's
wild.
no
on
good
both
news.
ends.
Everything's bad.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
And what's funny is, like, you're saying that, and my whole entire family was Democrat to death.
Yeah.
If my mom was alive right now, who's the most stubborn woman Italian in the planet, I mean, the most stubborn one ever, she might even be like, what is this guy doing?
Yeah.
What is he on? Who's running it, Tommy?
But there's people that think he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
This is a good job.
What do you
Like,
think they have him on?
dude? It looks like a weekend at Bernie's. I don't even know. Like, this dude is just like,
Right.
he's just.
They probably wake up, Mr. Biden, come on in, come on for your pills.
It's sad. Like,
Yeah.
it's
It
like,
is.
and I mean, he already committed political suicide in the sense of saying like how he got out of his like because he's unfit, because he's an elderly man. So all right, we already know that he's not going to run for next year. So who are they going to plug in next?
I keep saying this, but it doesn't seem it. I had in Joel Gilbert, and did I tell you this?
Mm-mm.
He followed around, like literally, like followed around, knew every movie, like big time journalist. And maybe 8 months ago, he was 100% Michelle, and it looked like it too, because she had started taking speech courses, and he had proof, because he wasn't like going across the line like a sicko.
Yeah.
He was just seeing what was going on, like any other journalist. So she starts taking the same speech class that Obama did. She starts taking the same courses at Harvard that Obama did. All these. Then she writes a book.
Yeah.
Goes on Oprah and promotes the book. And then Joel just destroyed the book.
Yeah.
She grew up in a white community. She wanted to be white.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And he was 100% sure that by November she would run. But can she even run right now? I guess because they keep saying Gavin Newsom.
I don't think he's
know.
polling as well. I don't think he's really doing that
I
great.
don't think he's doing anything.
If she comes out, though.
But it's like, common sense you would think common sense would dictate, because common sense is not really all that common. If you look at what's happening in California right now, and then you look at New York,
It's falling into the ocean.
and then you look at Minnesota, and you look at all these places that are blue, heavy blue, you're just kind of like, well, I don't really think that's a good direction of where we want to go on a grand scale. It doesn't make much sense to me to go that route. Like, I'm all for certain things, as far as like where I sit, kind of in the middle, but lean a little bit right, to where just, contribute, do something, and, don't demand shit, and don't be pacified, in the sense of, if someone disagrees with you, you don't cop a fit and stomp your feet and be a little bitch. Like, dude, it's okay to be at a disagreement. Like, it's fine. That's what makes this country so great, where it's like, you allude to China. It's like, hey, guess what? Disagree with the government there.
See what happens.
Bye, Felicia. Like, but here it's like you can't even really have conversations anymore with anybody because everybody's like, you know, it's almost like you're offending them or you're taking away a piece of their identity, where it's like, dude, fucking snap out of it. Like, I'm sure we all agree to disagree that we're pretty much down the middle in the same thing. You have to go to work. You have to go do this. You have to, you know, like shit's not always going to go your fucking way. And I don't care if you want to be, you know, a zebra, a leprechaun. I give a shit less. But that should be on you to have to fund that, because it's like I can't even get basically service dogs funded for dudes that have gone up and fought for your fucking ability to complain that you're not going to be the I don't care. But damn, priorities.
That's what
it's like. Holy shit! Like, and you're going to teach this to fucking kids. Like, that's where it's just like these kids are like sponges. And you're going to just put this shit in there and just say that it's that's kind of the frustrating part of it, where it's like, you know, that's the parents' job. Let them deal with how and what the content of sexuality and all of that, because you can kind of tell, like with some, where it's like, oh yeah, he's, you know, on the one side, where it's, you know, but it's like, is it is it something where it just, you know, let them just explore and let them figure it out on their own. And
you're destroying women's rights.
100%. Like, look at the shit with all the fucking dudes that are becoming women, like, and now they're just dominating women's sports.
Dominating.
And it's like, how is that
the volleyball game?
In
holy fuck! There was a volleyball game, and there was males in it.
Yeah.
And 3 people got concussions because, you know, they went over the thing. And then the girls were just like, fuck it, let the I guess body switchers do it, and they just ran house. And then they did it in.
What fun is girls volleyball now?
Well, that's what I mean. It's not fun.
Used to be watching it was fun.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Title IX was for. Title IX was for women. Title IX was for women's sports, to have women's sports, because, you know, you have men's sports, biological. And if a woman goes against a man, she's going to get fucked up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially in sports. Maybe not in real life, because I've seen some real crockpot type of guys. But in a sport, you're going to get buried.
Yeah.
And women fall for that. They got the swimming. They got the NBA. And now all of a sudden, if you decide, and this has happened at 51, at 40, 30, that you want to be a guy or a girl, you go right to the doctor. Boom. They give you the hormones and everything.
Yeah.
And now you've just destroyed every woman that's a biological woman's right. Because in basketball is done, every sport's done.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh,
I mean, just create a new league.
Create a new fucking league.
Fuck it. Like, like who? Like, but it's like
trans
damn.
league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the simple fucking
Make
thing.
it even.
Yeah.
You got to make it even, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how they should do it. You're right.
Yeah. Just create a new fucking league. You want to go one way, go the other. Like, but it's just like,
Maybe we should copyright that.
let's do it.
If we copyright that and we say, hey, the trans league, right?
Yeah.
The fully trans league.
There you go.
Translate.
Before I put this out, we should talk about that.
Let's
At least keep buying the name, and then we'll sell it.
Yep.
The TFL, Trans Fucking League.
Yeah, and they'll love it too. They'll love it.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you see that they're gonna have the steroid Olympics?
I think it's dope.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome.
Pull that up.
I think it's fucking incredible. Like, dude, like, I mean,
That's
baseball was
gonna be fun to watch.
reinvigorated back when Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire were just jacking balls, and you know,
and everybody watched baseball.
yeah.
Right, Scott, you're a big baseball fan.
I love it.
Dude,
I love the Mets. I mean, you know.
and how fun was it back
Isn't Bobby
then?
Bonilla still on the payroll?
He is. He gets like another 8 years. He gets
Get the fuck out
Yeah,
of
dude,
here.
he's
$1 million a year.
like
They deferred his salary
Yeah,
for 30 years.
yeah,
$1 million a year for 30 years.
dude, still getting paid.
July 1st is
Yeah.
Bobby Bonilla Day. Every year, July 1st, boom, he gets a check for $1 million.
Well, he made a good deal.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
between all that coke and everything, he did a good deal. I liked him.
all guaranteed.
But now, what I think is, if you're going to give people Xanax, if you're going to allow fentanyl, if you're going to allow, you know, all these drugs to be prescribed by the doctor, what is the fucking big deal with steroids? Especially, like, maybe in sports you don't want it. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. But for the everyday person, what is the big deal?
Yeah, I mean, bro, I feel as though if it's run and managed correctly, based on the individual needs of what it is that you want to do. And especially if there's a deficiency in the individual themselves, like, so some of the things that we're doing and we're going to be working on, building off of with some of our new partnerships is, you know, it's identifying at the cellular level what's happening inside the body. Where are you at? What are your deficiencies? How can we amend or at least provide you with an alternative solution to where, you know, I've asked the doctor questions like, well, your testosterone, I think, was like 123. My growth hormone was like 30 something. So I was like a 90-year-old man, basically, at 28 years old.
But let me ask you this. But were you? Because because that, you know, like they have the guidelines.
Yeah.
That guidelines is, say, at 2,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Scott's testosterone's 600, mine's 100, yours is 300. The dog's is 200,
Yeah.
and they put that together and they say, okay, the average testosterone is 400. But what was your dad? That's okay. Their lifetime warranty.
Right.
You keep that shit forever. So, and I say, well, why not look at your dad?
Yeah.
2 males on your side. Because that's what because my
Yeah.
testosterone's 1,300.
Nice.
1275.
Yeah.
Right. But, and the reason why I think this is not just the doctors, but also my dad is 68. And his is 1,100, 1,200, 68.
Yeah.
Now he'll fuck anything that walks, I'm sure, but it's not like he or I are walking around with a boner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So genetically,
Yep.
that's just normal. So 1,000 is normal.
Yeah.
So if I was 700, I would be low. If
Yeah.
I was 1,900, I'd be high. So if you're 200, how do you know that your dad and your uncle, maybe they only got to 400? And 400 is the average,
Yeah.
you know, and that's with everything.
Yeah.
And what I've seen them do with the HRT clinics and the TRT is they're prescribing steroids kind of like in the gray area,
Yeah.
right? But what they're not doing is giving an anti-estrogen. And for
Mhm.
people that don't know, if you take testosterone without an anti-estrogen, then you get the bitch tits,
Yep.
you get the moods, the pimples, the everything else. So these clinics, these side clinics that just get a medical director,
Yep.
and then the medical director, you don't see him for 5 years.
Yep.
You just pay him, and Joe Schmo runs it. Well, Anthony, here's some testosterone, but no anti-estrogen.
Yeah.
Why? Because when you come off that, Anthony, you're going to need it more, or you're going to be depressed, you're going to be sad, and you're going
Yeah.
to have side effects. So to keep you coming back to pay $1,200 for that $30 bottle of testosterone, we're not going to give you the anti-estrogen.
Yeah.
So because they fucked with it and not just let it go the right way, now you got these shady clinics prescribing Trenbolone.
Yeah.
Trenbolone. My friend hid in a tree. He was on Trenbolone, okay? 23, 24. Guy's 5'8". Sees this guy in Philadelphia that is 6'6"
Yeah.
and jacked. And his name's Dale. He's a cool guy. And I said, Dale, you're 5'8", bro. He's 6'6".
Yeah.
If you get as big as him, you're going to look like a fat midget. He's 6'6". Didn't care.
Yeah.
Tons of trend, everything you can imagine. He gets in his head that his wife's cheating on him. We're like, oh my
Ain't
God,
even
what
down that
the
rabbit
fuck
hole.
is this shit? And now he was in the military. So he decides he's going to, put the cognito shit on, literally climb up a tree. And we're his friends, so we're with him, just waiting for something to go wrong. 3 hours in Pennsylvania in the cold. He's in the tree with binoculars trying to look in our window and shit. Finally, he gets down, rips the screen door off the house. She's in there with his daughter giving her a bath. I mean, that's how crazy this trend is.
Yeah.
And they're giving it to kids that are 21, 22.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, our network of individuals that we work with, man, are fantastic. They look at everything, and like I was saying, dude, we're going to the point we're checking for heavy metals in the blood. We're looking at where are your levels at? What's going to make you feel good as far as the individual, as the patient, to treat you as far as, hey, what's acceptable? If it's not, they immediately dial back. Anti-estrogen estrogen blockers, they're pushing those. And I think it's all the other areas of what's not being checked, such as Lyme disease, again, the heavy metals, nutrient deficiencies, like what foods are we eating now that are not allowing our bodies to excel or be at its peak level of performance, to be able to look at that and say, hey, let's make these alterations and figure this out for the individual person, where it's like you can't just look at the BMI. How fucking outdated is the BMI calendar? I have a buddy of mine, he's yoked. He's 7% body fat and fucking he's 240 pounds. And he's 6'2". And look at the BMI calendar, he's obese.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wait a second. Like, come on. Like, what are we doing here? Like, throw this shit away. Let's come back with something real. And it's not an attack on the medical community, but it's like, when are we just going to just update and, be a little bit more proactive?
Because
and
that might be a fix. Maybe that's the fix, right?
yeah, you don't know until you know, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
So let's schedule it and make it this whole big deal.
Because I asked my doctor, I was like, dude, so how do I fix the fact of my body not producing, where I should be as far as a normal person, my age? He's like, oh, well, you could try this, you could do this, and at the time, you could lose weight, you can do X, Y, and Z. I was like, all right, well, is that going to really help me? Well, you may see a small jump. Okay, well, so if I'm taking something that's outside, he's like, well, you're going to probably have to take that for the rest of your life. I was like, well, is my body ever going to produce it again for the rest of my life? No.
Cha-ching.
So I was like, okay, so what are you telling me? That my body's not going to do it, but if I take it, I'm going to have to take it for the rest of my life to feel this way?
He's telling you he's going to be billing you for the rest of your life is what he's telling you.
But even that was at the VA where it's like, hey, now I'm talking to the endocrinologist, and it's just like, it was this 6-month program of like,
bullshit.
I'm like, come on, man. Like, and then it's like, when I finally, had means when I was, working overseas, it was just like, I could just go in, like you said, it was easier because those individuals knew that industry and they know like, hey, all right, well, you're not trying to do X, Y, Z. It's like, I don't want to be this, that. And I just want to be able to sleep better, be able to go work out and actually notice a difference in my performance. And then this is where I want to go. And they're like, all right, so we created a plan. That's it.
And they go, bang, 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 and that's all you need.
Yeah.
And when you want off of it, you just taper off of it, bang, bang, bang. Have a good day.
Yeah. Or you just stay on a small dose and just be on that level of like, hey, I feel great. So it's like, why would you take that away from somebody's ability to do it? But yet, if I want to go change my sex, come on, let's go, let's get it.
Right.
It's just for free. That's what it's like.
How nuts is that, right? You can't get a steroid that, they say, oh, it's so bad, it's so bad, it's so bad. HGH is so bad. Really? Sylvester Stallone looks pretty goddamn good for 81 with a broken neck.
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, who ate glasses of eggs, I mean, he's sharper than Biden.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Was it Tiger King or Liver King?
Liver King, yeah. I mean,
he looks yoked.
Yeah, I mean, this guy tried to deny it for 2 years until he got buried by more plates, more dates. Derek, I had him on. You don't want him coming after you. Man, he dissects you to death.
Yeah.
He got buried. He's not dead. He's doing great.
Yeah.
So you look at all these examples, the baseball players, I mean, Sammy Sosa, well, I know a little bit about Sammy Sosa, but with the exception of him, these guys took like football field amounts, but the other ones took half a football field amounts.
Yeah.
Do they have medical problems? No.
Yeah.
Not yet. It's been a while.
Right. Yeah.
But still, you figure if when you're in the major leagues, if you're cracking windshields, not just hitting it out of the park, like out of the park into the parking lot and breaking windshields.
Yeah.
If 20 years later you got a little bit of problems, I'll take it, right?
Yeah, because you got the money to take care of it.
Yeah, you go overseas.
You sign the $1 million contract.
You can't get it fixed in the U.S., but overseas you're good, right?
Yeah, yeah. Right, yeah, like Peyton Manning.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he went over there. Aaron got a lot done and a lot of fucking psychedelics.
He does ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool to see a lot of the, I guess, influential athletes who are going out and kind of making a stand, because it's like when you look at the mental health industry, what's sad is, the opportunity, the vulnerability around it to where, hey, we're going to say guns are the issue, this is that, all these other things, when it's like, wait, hold on a second. It's going to take me 6 to 7 months to see a mental health counselor if I wanted to. And it's like, anybody can back this up. It's like, call a shrink and be like, hey, listen, I'd like to come in and speak with you. When can I get your next appointment? We're XYZ months out. Okay. Are you feeling this? You want to harm yourself? No, I'm good. I just went, all right, well, here, we'll refer you to so-and-so. If you need to get on any medications, we'll be happy to put you on this. It's like, oh, okay, well, sweet. And then you look at the laundry list of fucking side effects and its medications, and you're just like, wait a second. Yeah, I don't want that either. But a lot of times people, they don't feel like they have any hope of, like, this is the doctor says go do this, so I'm going to go do this. Doctor says this is. I can't
I'm
tell
in
you.
that spot right now.
Yeah, like my grandfather, dude, love him to death, stubborn. But if I said anything that was just hey, go, this is what you got to do, Pop. Like,
Good
no,
luck.
no. Then the doctor's like, hey, this is what you got to do. Okay. And
That's
it's
the other
just
thing,
like-
because and you can't blame them because they've had the same doctor for 7 years.
100%.
So the doctor's always right. What do you know,
100%.
Anthony?
Yeah, yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
You know, what do you know more than a doctor now, Anthony?
Exactly.
And you do. That's what's crazy.
Well, yeah. Sometimes.
Sometimes. What happened with you?
Well, I have I go for physicals every year, and a couple of years ago they said, well, your kidneys don't look like they're working well.
Yeah.
I said, okay, what do I got to do? Well, take this medication, take that medication. They kept giving me stuff,
Yeah.
one after the other.
Right, how did you get the whole thing? You have like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday pill thing?
Well, yeah, of course.
Oh, no, Scott. He's got the fucking Monday
When
through Friday.
When you're over 70, you know,
Oh, they got you.
they got you.
They got their
So-
hooks in you, Scotty.
So finally, he hit on a medication, very expensive, pharma, big pharma, and the side effect was me losing 30 pounds. I mean, my kidneys are okay.
Yeah.
It's helping my kidneys,
Yeah.
but it's a diabetes drug, and what do I know? A doctor says you should take this. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, so that's what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And you didn't know you were going to lose weight, right?
I had no idea.
You didn't take that to lose
This
weight.
wasn't listed as a side effect,
Yeah.
and what it does is not make me hungry.
Yeah.
Like I can only eat about half of what I used
Yeah.
to eat. Not intentionally, but that's the way it is.
Yeah.
And I talked to the doctor, and they don't even know what these side effects are. He goes, you're not supposed to lose weight. I talked to the pharmacist. You're not supposed to lose weight from that drug.
Yeah.
I go, well, either I'm dying or this drug's making me lose weight.
So they have Ozempic, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I know Ozempic from 99, 98, 2000. And Scott, you're on a pill, right? Not a shot?
I'm on a pill, which is also for diabetes.
Yeah.
So the
Right.
way they
So
treat
is
kidney
Ozempic.
disease is
Yeah.
with diabetes drugs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not Ozempic, but it's not even supposed – they don't even know yet.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a
Well,
brand new drug.
They don't know Ozempic. And in 99 and 2000, what that one was doing, it would take a year and a half, and it eats the intestine. It eats it, literally. Like hospital, ICU. You're going to see lawsuits within the next 3-4 years. Lawsuits to the end of time with this shit.
Yeah.
And when you talk about a pandemic or you talk about a way,
Mm-hmm.
who is overweight that doesn't want, for whatever reason, and I'm sure they have good reasons, maybe they don't have the money to go to the right therapist or whatever it may be, but doesn't take a look at what they're eating,
Yeah.
maybe exercise, they're just stuck.
Yeah.
And here you have this drug that you will lose 40, 50 pounds.
Yeah.
Who that's overweight isn't going to take it?
Yeah.
You're going to take that in a heartbeat.
100%. I mean, it's also a lifestyle thing too, man.
It's
like
gonna kill you.
Yeah, but we get so wrapped up in our day to day, where it's just, you're in the rat race, right? It's like, I mean, my days start at 4:30 in the morning. From 4:30 in the morning, I'll go to the gym by like 5:36, and then I'll just be there until about 7:30, 8 o'clock. Get home, and then it just starts again, pouring in conversations and phone calls. Dude, by the time it gets to like 2 o'clock, I'm fucking mentally just checked out and exhausted. Like, fuck, I haven't eaten all day. Like, I've had breakfast, I've done this. All right, so what am I gonna do? All right, let me go grab something to eat. By now, it's like 3:30, 4 o'clock. I'm like, well, fuck, I could try to get to bed by 7:30, 8 o'clock. And then next thing you know, I'm just laying in bed trying to do more work and emails come 10, 11 o'clock at night. I'm just like,
So if you go to bed at 1, do you still get up at 4:30?
5 o'clock, yeah, probably.
So no matter what, the latest you
it's
get up,
yeah, I'll be groggy but it's just like, just get up.
just fight through it.
Just, it's either, hey, if I'm going to bed at 1 o'clock, do I stay up or not?
I know that feeling.
Like, do I just ride this wave and like, all right, I'm going to be up for a full 24, 48. So, let's
So
do
no
it.
matter what, you're moving by what time? No matter what.
No matter what, no more than like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock.
Damn.
I am, yeah. And it took me a while to kind of get to that because I lit the candle on both ends for a number of years where I was almost like 300 pounds. So it's like I've lost a lot of weight from where I was at to where I'm at now just to kind of build in habits. And I went down the thing, not Ozempic, but semaglutide where I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. Well, then I found, dude, for me personally, it fucked with my joints. And I was like, I'm not going to do this shit anymore. So then I just needed something that could curb my appetite so that I was just like, all right, let me just get past this, get over this hump initially because I'm trying to watch what I eat, because it was more of like emotional eating and shit like that, and just, you know, not drinking, not being hydrated. So for me, it was just like that was my problem. And, you know, obviously the short answer is put the fucking fork down, go to the fucking gym.
Right.
Like, if you're going to eat healthy things, but you eat it frequently, but at the end of the day, fucking go to the gym, go work out, put the fork down, stop.
You want to hear something crazy? You'll like this. I had in Asim Malhotra from London.
Yeah.
He's the doctor that fought the sugar. He found that the sugar companies paid billions and billions of dollars to run all the ads that saturated fats were bad, that fats were bad. And he was showing research. He's like, you could eat a stick of butter a day. It's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
If you eat this much sugar a day, you're going to have problems.
Yeah.
The average person should only have 3 teaspoons of sugar. Teaspoons.
Yeah.
That's it.
Dude,
That's what causes the heart attacks, the heart disease, not the fat.
Yeah.
He called the Olympics, the fucking Olympics. That's how juiced up he is. And he goes, why is every commercial promoting shit food, sugar, when we have all this data?
Yeah.
He got all the snack machines out of every hospital in the world, not just London here. No snack machines.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they snuck them in now, but at the time he did it. But, I mean, that's just how fucking wild it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But these drugs, fucking, I'm telling you, man, that's like glutide.
And one of the things that we're looking at too, man, is what we're going into now is to be able to test genetically what maps out for that individual patient. So what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And that's something that we're working on so that we can just get a baseline of the individual who's coming through, especially with our team and our practitioners as we build this thing out. You know, what can we do so that we're ahead of it? You know, and even some of the MRIs and some of the scans where it's like, dude, they're identifying cancer just before it even hits stage 1. And some great organizations, you know, like Hunter 7 Foundation, you know, they're putting together just a ton of evidence based on where guys were deployed, where they're at, and, you know, where their time spent in service was, and all these other, you know, cancers that are popping up surrounding time in service, that they're trying to catch this shit now and early. And there's machines out there that are actually capable of saying, hey, with like 500 different forms of cancer, they're testing this shit out before it even hits stage 1, where it's like, wait a second, why wouldn't I want to find out the markers if this leads to cancer? Why wouldn't I want to know that now? And then on the back end of that, it also scans the entire body, where it's like, it's literally going to tell you over 2,500 different things. Like, this is what's wrong. This is what we suspect is wrong based on their AI and all this other shit, where it's like, okay, so now we're just taking a full glance at what's under the hood, and now we're going to create a plan for you and what's going to be best suited for you. And, you know, the approach, that's where we want to go. That's where we're in the direction of where we're heading, because I think everybody kind of has an understanding, like they know what they're supposed to do. It's just a matter of kind of creating that routine and then being in a good positive headspace where it's like, all right, I can do this. I'm going to do this. I'm committed to improving myself, because, you know, some people just don't give a fuck. Yeah, and that's okay. That's your thing, but don't play the victim. You know,
when somebody's there trying to help you out, or offering it to you, you know.
And for us, it's the vetting process, and then making sure that, you know, when we bring in the right people, it's not just like a free for all, like, hey, just show up. And no, it's like, it's going to be by appointment. We're going to have only a certain amount, because our job is to, and what I'm hoping, you know, and what my plan is for our team is to say, look, here's what you want to do. Here's the path that we want to go. This is how we want to treat individuals. It's per person. It's each individual person. Sure, we'll team them up with a peer support group and navigate that path. That's going to ebbs and flows. There's going to take some tweaking involved with that. But being able to sit there and say, hey, look, what's up? What do you need? Tell me. How do you feel here? How do you feel?
I got 5 minutes. There's somebody in the next office. You know, what do you need? Oh, you're sick. Okay, let me look at my standard sheet.
Yeah,
you know.
But if you take the time out just to see the person, what's up? And you have the time to go through it and say, hey, look, this is where we're feeling, like, where are you at here? Like, how's family? Like, what's going on? And you just do that concierge level service. Like, that's our approach, and where we're driving for our facility, is to be able to accommodate that and be able to provide that level of service.
That's fantastic.
So,
and I'll tell you, I know for a fact that peptides kill cancer.
That's why they're gone.
Like, no,
that's why they've been removed.
Right. No ifs, ands, or buts. I've seen it with my own eyes. Ipamorelin, Sermorelin, Tesamorelin with BPC. BPC 157. When you have cancer, it sends a signal. The BCP goes to find it, but it doesn't have enough juice to get to it. So the sermorelin, the tesamorelin, the ipamorelin, they all push it.
Yep.
And when they all get to it, the morelin, ipamorelin, tesamorelin,
Yep.
but BC's the killer. So what you have to do, and we've put up studies and results like hundreds of thousands in other countries, they give 10 milligrams of Viagra with it, whether you're a woman or a guy.
For vasodilation.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
increase blood flow.
Yeah.
But everybody thinks, oh, it's going to make my dick hard or I'm a girl. But no, it increases blood flow to the muscle tissue, right? Whether that's your dick because you just kissed a girl, or whether you take it now and you go do biceps,
Yeah.
it's going to go, the blood flow is going to go to the bicep, which means all the nutrients and everything else.
Yep.
So it's good to take before you work out. But with cancer, this is what pushes those morelins and the BPC to the cancer.
Yeah.
Then once they get a grip on it, the BPC just eats it alive.
Yeah.
As long as it's under stage 3, destroys it. So Big Pharma finds out, we have to put a regulation in now because, we got to figure out a way how we can, make a gazillion dollars on it and charge out the ass.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's crazy, man. It's sad to see.
And it's a fucking amino acid.
Yeah.
How are you going to take away an amino acid?
Yeah. Well, weren't they trying to patent HCG? But they couldn't do it because it was
they couldn't do
naturally
it.
produced.
Yeah, it was naturally produced. So anything naturally produced, they have a tough time. But
Yeah.
if they want to,
But they
do
still
it,
pulled it off the market.
yeah,
where it's like-
motherfuckers.
yeah.
That's what they did. They didn't make them illegal. They didn't ban them. They just pulled them.
Yeah.
Because it's in that heyday phase.
Yeah.
Pull up the Warrior site, because if you get that, man, and because we have Gary Brecka coming in
Yep.
April. You know who that is?
I don't.
He's a like a doctor. He's a doctor, but you go to him with a deficiency. So if you're depressed, if any number of sickness, any type of sickness, and rather than a pill or this or that, he believes, and from what I've read, and I'm going to talk to him more, is that every cancer, every ADHD, every alcoholic that they want to call, every cokehead, whatever, that it's not hereditary. What he says is it's a deficiency.
Mm-hmm.
So your dad had that deficiency. Maybe when your dad's dad was in the cave, had the deficiency. And we never in time have looked at not what's off the chart, but what might be deficient that's making you depressed, that makes you have ADHD. And sometimes it's as simple as, you need, B12 phosphate and not B12 this.
Yeah.
And that simple thing gets rid of the ADHD. And it sounds like that's kind of what you're looking to incorporate, because it really does seem that all this shit, ADHD, the depression, the social anxiety, it all seems to be some type of mineral or vitamin or chemical deficiency, not a hereditary problem, just a deficiency that was never corrected, that was fucking band-aided.
Yeah. And and then again, it's just like it's such a pain in the ass just to get some of the blood work done anyways.
That too.
Where it's like, why do you need this? Well, we can't do this because this, or this. The chief complaint wasn't this. So it's like you go in through all of this, bureaucratic red tape, where it's just like, look, man, we just want to do a full panel. We want to find out everything, what's happening, what's off, where can we do this? Like what can we add, whether it's, being able to put some dude on iodine or whatever the case is that could help correct this. And it's just like, I don't understand it. I'm not saying that individuals, medications are all bad. Some dudes and some folks need the medications to, and some of them do a great job. And there's others where it's just like, like you talk Adderall. It's just like, fuck, man, how bad is that on the brain?
and you can't just stop
and
it.
all this other, it's just, no, it's just, I'm going to do, no, but it's just like.
Well, I'm a walking 22-year case study of modafinil.
Dude.
22 years.
The Go pills, check it out. Like nootropics, yeah.
Same thing.
Better, holistic.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. So, and I mean, I can easily kind of do the spiel on them. I'm not sponsored by them or anything else like that. But, the clinical data that they have is providing enough research that shows, just safe usage, and at the neurotransmitter precursor level. So, You know, trials conducted by, you know, one of the nation's top elite units for counterterrorism, where, you know, I think it was 12 out of the 15 were like, this had positive effects to where cognitively they were still able to do their mission and everything else and still maintain a level of alertness during operations. And then it was not a crash.
Wow.
It is a very just like slow letdown. So, I would check it out.
Yeah.
Like they're,
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I've been taking modafinil every day for 22 years.
check those out, dude.
Have you ever taken Motor Alert?
I've done Provigil, but I have not. Yeah.
Okay, so Provigil is the brand name.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
US sucks.
Yeah.
The US generic sucks. They all suck.
Well, the one we had, I think they were from India. So
India's the best one.
With the little the aluminum packaging.
Aluminum
whatever. Yeah,
package,
yeah.
but it's got to be the Motor Alert.
Okay.
And there's no come down.
Yeah.
It's just when it's active, you could tell that you're quick, you're sharp. And when you like I stopped it for 3 years. Like I was on it 11 straight and just in one day stopped. And you're not as your IQ isn't there, but there's no come down. It's been around since the 50s.
Dude, I've been straight zen. Like we're just being able to accomplish my day, and it's just like it's helped.
So when you take one, what do you feel?
Take two, and then you don't really feel much other than just it's kind of like the lights turn on, where you're like, all right, I'm here, ready to go, and it's just like you have that uptick in energy and you're moving, but it's just like there's when you know after about 7 hours, you're just kind of like, all right, I'm still, but am I? But yeah, no, but you can still power and still work through.
So it kind of takes the weight off, you know.
Yeah.
Where
it's like not worrying about my brain getting carved out with fucking dextromethamphetamine.
Yeah.
Just because it says dextro in front, but what's the back end? Methamphetamine.
Yeah. I think modafinil and what you're talking about, because I looked a little bit, but I don't know much about it. But from what you're saying, they're just so clean.
Yeah.
They don't do it. If they gave modafinil to everybody that has ADHD and anti-anxiety, that'd be the end of all those fucking pills.
Yeah, and the dudes, those are local dudes here. I mean, I'll definitely pass their name along to you to try to get them on, because one guy's Harvard dude, then he went to Oxford, so it's like,
oh, so he knows what he's
talking. Yeah, dude. He was trying to tell me today. I was like, bro, like, I got a little capacity of what I'm gonna do here, man. Like, you know, but solid group of guys, great company. You know, definitely quality product.
Sure, I'd love to have him, man. Come in with him, because I like to. I go heavy with you. But I've got all these fucking. I've been Mr. Doctor guy. You know? Peter McCullough is coming Friday.
No shit.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear what he's going to say about what's coming.
Well, I love the dude. Was it Pena?
Pena, yeah.
Dude, that guy cracks me
he's
up. Where
the
it's
best,
like,
man.
oh, dude, he's awesome.
He's coming back in April.
Is he?
He loves me. That damn. I'm going to go to his QLA.
His quote is like, you know, success. You know, success is like pregnancy. You know, nobody wants to say, you know, what was it? Success is like pregnancy. Everybody wants to say congratulations, but nobody knows how many times you got fucked.
I started watching him in 2015, and I was going through a bad time, and I would watch him and study everything he was saying. And I learned everything from him. I would go to the Lamborghini dealership over and over with no money, because that's what he would say to do. So whenever I'd be like, this company isn't going to work, I drag myself to land, and they'd be like, are you buying one this time? But it refreshes your motivation, because you're like, I'm going to get that. I'm not giving up.
Yeah.
And I would just follow what he would say, because he'd say it like I want it said. Hey, you fucking pussy.
Yeah.
Get the fuck up. Yeah, you're broke. Go live in a shithole and get it together. Yeah. Stop being a snowflake.
Yeah.
That's how I like being talked to.
Yeah.
I'm a psychopath, though.
Yeah. Dude, I look at, sometimes I say the same thing, and I came down to where I started, you know, realizing, you know, to be a little bit more encouraging, because I look at myself saying, like, come on, you fucking pussy, push the weight. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's get this going. Like, let's get it done.
How'd the encouraging work?
The encouraging was more of like, I don't know if it was like soothing, but it was more of like, all right, I can go. All right, whatever. It's just like, it's a little bit more relaxing, not as like jaded.
See, the encouraging for me is, it's okay. You can take a break.
Yeah,
and
but that's the thing. It's like, if you have that contract to say, you know, don't negotiate with yourself anymore. Like once you've decided, like, hey, I'm going to go XYZ it is.
No, I just say you're a pussy, Tom, and keep going, and then I take on too much than I can.
Yeah.
And that's why the shit will spiral,
right?
Which we're gonna get to. Pull back up, and then let's go to his site. And we'll go through the steroid guys, because that should.
So, dude, we have a huge event coming up April 6th and 7th at Carlin Park.
I will be there. April 6th and 7th.
6th and 7th, Carlin Park in Jupiter. It's a CrossFit competition. This is our second year. Well, this is our fourth year doing it. Second year that we're bringing back the adaptive athletes, which was huge from last year. We noticed there was just a gap as far as, you know, bringing in dudes that have been blown up or whatever, who are, amputees or just anybody who fits that adaptive division, to get them out there and to have them perform. And it was awesome to watch some of these dudes.
Amazing,
bro,
man.
fucking crazy. And it's like, I watch them, I'm like, all right, you have no fucking excuse. Like, stop being a bitch.
Yeah,
Like,
go to
look at
What
this-
We
look at this
Do.
dude.
That's
Like,
where the picture is with the one guy, right? Under What We Do.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so there's another one, this dude, Victor, that just came down. He's a G, man. Super, super good dude. One arm. I mean, watching this guy work out and he's pulling almost 300 pounds with one arm. No wrap, no nothing. Just, and it's wild.
Gang. Like, they want to talk about a gangster. That's a gangster.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You want to fuck with him? I don't think
Yeah.
so.
And, dude, it's
I love it.
we also added the intellectual division. So people like ASD and stuff like that, they're going to be able to compete in it. So we're just trying to
What's
diversify.
ASD again?
Like autism, being
Oh,
on
yeah,
spectrum,
yeah.
and, just, so.
I'll tell you what, though. Anyone who has anything to say about anybody with autism, I would hire them over the regular person any day of the week. Any day of the week.
Right.
Because whatever it is whatever their thing is that they're into,
Yeah.
and I think I got a little bit of a lot of shit. So I'm not saying anything bad. I'm all fucked up.
Yeah.
But autism, man, you could throw 100,000 numbers at them and they'll figure it. I would
Yeah.
hire them tomorrow. Those are the best.
Yeah.
So when anybody makes fun of them, just bury them with whatever you're good at.
Yeah. Yeah. it's incredible just to watch them and just to see just the work ethic that they put into everything, dude. It's unbelievable,
Yeah.
And then we just locked in, at the end of the year, we're doing a golf tournament, at Trump National over in Jupiter.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So that's November 18th, Monday, November 18th. So we're going to have something on Sunday, but then November 18th is like a big tournament, because then we should be at least into phase 1 with our build out of what we're doing on the property.
That's
So
gonna be
this way it's just like,
yeah, things really coming together.
yeah,
And they
things are
can't
great.
take that from them.
Yeah, no, we have a great grant team that came on. Super excited about them. The teams that we're working with, even just within the local community and some of the people that, have our support, we're looking at putting this site up in Okeechobee. We're super excited to be working with the city, and being able to, bring something out there that can create a labor force, but also do good at the same time. And, as I see myself kind of phasing away, to bring in the management team so that they can be the ones to run the race, and I can just sit back as a chairman and just watch and just make sure that the vision is being executed accordingly. We're just really grateful and all the work that's getting put into this project, from, our engineers, the design architects, everything that's like, just, it's been a huge undertaking, but the ability that where we will be this time, like next year or even into the coming years, like we're blessed, and we're just really excited about what's going on next.
Nah, you didn't have this last time you were coming in.
No,
You
it
were
was
saying you were doing a lot of changes. You were working
Yeah,
on a lot of things.
yeah.
You're like, I'm working on a lot of shit.
Yeah,
you know?
dude, it was a grind, and we're finally at the position now. The only thing we're waiting on is a couple permits to come through, and once that's done, then we execute on the property, and then we can immediately start, close on the land, and immediately start digging and start doing, executing our performance and what this thing is going to look like for you.
And that's permit after permit after permit.
Yeah,
Not too bad.
I mean, it's there's hurdles for sure. It's just kind of like, all right, well, it's my first time. Like, I've never built a house or anything else like
Yeah.
that. But I know the permit process is just like, it's a part of the process, and you can only go as fast as you want, not as like nobody moves at like, oh, we're not going to just get this shit. It's just like, all right, well, it's as long as I know that it's coming and it's happening, in what we will be able to do and bring. That's the gift. It's like, all I know is that when it's like, it's all said and done, here's the model, here's the vision, this is what we're doing. That's the only thing I care about, is to be able to at least have something that is changing the trajectory of what the current healthcare model is, and taking a more streamlined approach of just, hey, we're here for you. What do you need? And to provide that level of service, and then bring in other organizations so that they can treat their individuals with our team and our staff and just make it something where it's like, all right, here's what we can do.
And how do these guys get so strong with one leg, one arm? I mean, God damn.
It's the body, bro. The body is unbelievable. It's incredible. But I mean, even with psychedelics and what that does to the brain and how that can rewire and remap and just, there was Ibogaine being 92 to 95% effective as far as dealing with anybody who has some sort of substance. I don't even want to say substance abuse, but yeah, substance abuse issue.
Yeah,
where it knocks that out. Whether
I've
smoking,
seen it.
drinking, like it's wild.
I don't know if it was you, sorry, but there was another vet I had in Marine, and he had done that. He had done that, done, boom, gone.
Yeah.
And NAD, that and NAD. But what's funny with the NAD is the U.S. has a Proctal, right? You go in, you get the IV, and you sit there and you go for 5 hours, right? But then China has a Proctal, and China's Proctal is 200 milligrams a day for 30 days, then nothing for 4 months and repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And all of their studies have shown plus 5 years to life. Okay, if you have an addiction to cocaine, alcohol, and maybe it was one other thing, cocaine, alcohol, and like Adderall, shit like that.
Yeah,
a 100% effect rate, as in they finished the 30 days and just gone. And that was out of Portugal, where they allow it, and another country. Maybe it was 99%. But the NAD did it, and then they would end it with the psilocybin.
Yeah.
So over there, say you get a DUI or you get caught with a bag of coke, not a dealer, you don't go to jail.
Yeah.
There's no rehabs over there that are shady. You go in and they say, okay, here's NAD, here's Librium so you don't seize out, and here's psilocybin microdose when you're done to get off of it. See you later. That's it.
Yeah.
Not this doctor referral. Boom. In and out. And if it didn't work, come back and we'll hit you a little harder. You know?
Yeah, dude. It's the.
So if you get a medical director in there, then you can really do the blood work, right? You can get that going.
Yeah.
So you're in the process of that.
Yep. Then our clinical director for mental health, we've found her. She's like a gem. And to be able to bring her on board with us, it's opened up so many doors, and the ability to have someone you can kind of communicate with, where it's like, hey, look, what's going to work? How can we scale this? What can we do as far as the scheduling goes? And to, our new executive director, hopefully, once everything is all finalized, she'll, have a background as a doctor with PT and OT. So it's like, we're covering all of the bases so that right now, as we kind of open the doors and we're being able to bring in, once heads and beds, because not we're going to be able to roll out everything all at one time, right? So we have to ease it in, and to have a staff or a workforce that can accommodate on a multitude of different levels like this and what we have. It's going to be interesting to see, and I'm just everybody's excited for the progress that we've made.
Well, I mean, Christ, you already got 2 events. You got one at Trump. You got the one in Jupiter on the 6th and 7th. You had them before.
Well, Trump was like our big thing. We're like, this is all we had. Like, this is all that we could really put into it, because everything else was tied up into securing this asset, that it was going to extend the mission of what we were doing. That's why we kind of had to scale back. We're still doing some dogs, but we're kind of bringing up more of the remote project, and we're really kind of looking at curating within the community more relationships with some of the other institutions so that we can get this program rolled out into there, because we feel as though a lot of these institutions, they can become a workforce for us, because also, look, they're going to pad their endowments. They're still going to make money. They're still going to be able to, work within the student body that is on a full spectrum scale, and looking at the program and the success that we've had from the mental health aspect of it, which kind of brings us back to the last time where it's like 8 months to do X, Y, and Z just to see a shrink. This puts into perspective somebody who's interested in dealing with dogs and animals and utilizing this as a therapy program in school early on to destigmatize mental health and what the issues are, because it's not always just the issue. It's like, listen, why can't I just call up a doctor and be able to go and see him? You know, why can't I call a doctor that's in, you know, if I live in Maryland, call one in Florida? Why can't I work with somebody telehealth to just talk and communicate, go back and forth? None of that infrastructure is in place. There's certain bills that are going to be passed soon enough that will enable doctors to kind of utilize their licensure to cross borders and be able to practice. But until that happens, until there's a national registry of mental health practitioners, you're just fucking stuck.
You know, I'm surprised that they don't put the right to try in with, like, you know, post-traumatic stress syndrome and things like that. Because if you're bad, right, isn't that as bad as cancer? Because cancer is going to kill you. And if you've got, you know, I don't even like saying the word, but if you just, you know, if you're a vet and you've been through some shit, you know, you're on the level of jumping off a cliff because you can't understand, you know, people don't understand you. You're this, you're that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would think that they would allow the right to try with that. So if, hey, maybe, you know, this guy, there's nothing we can do. We've done everything we could do. You know, why can't we try DMT? Why can't we try psilocybin?
Yeah.
The right to try. You're allowing it for the other shit, you know?
Right. Yeah. Dude, good question.
The only thing I could come up with, and I'll go back to Natanya, and this will piss you off. So, you know, she's from that world of pharmaceuticals and, you know, the clinical trials. So what they're doing now is they're taking psilocybin. She said Pfizer and Lilly, they're both at it. And right now they're playing with it, and they're trying to take out the part that makes you trip, you know, the part that gives you visuals.
Yep.
And her concern was, you know, after studying it heavy, is that takes away from the experience.
Yeah.
So if there's not that visual, right, and you just have a feeling, that's not the experience that's changing people's lives, right?
Yeah.
I don't think you just get a feeling and you have a new day.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like you start messing with, and that's
what Dharma does.
But that's what scares me.
Yeah, right.
And why they're so receptive of this now, especially with all of the, I don't want to say propaganda, but all of the messaging that's being broadcast across all the networks in general. It's there's only this way or this way, and then whatever else is in there, you gotta figure it out. You gotta kind of have, you know, you got to be able to unplug yourself and understand, like, let me take this with a grain of salt. Let me see this. Let's watch this. It's like you have to broaden where your information is coming from, because if you just sit there and, oh, this is fucking gospel, like, dude, chill the fuck out.
Well, see, Anthony, they have to let it go and let Colorado do what they want because they have to test it.
Yeah.
So if Pfizer and Lilly want to do their clinical trials, it has to be legal somehow, some way, somewhere for them to do their testings. That's the only fucking reason.
But if you get a church designation, you can test it based on religious premise.
Can you?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Oh, because they paid $1 gazillion up top.
Well,
that's right.
Yeah.
This podcast is brought to you by Monster Energy. Tear into a can of the meanest energy drink on the planet, Monster Energy. It's the ideal combo of the right ingredients in the right proportion to deliver a big bad buzz that only Monster can. Monster packs a powerful punch, has a smooth, easy drinking flavor. Athletes, musicians, co-eds, road warriors, metalheads, geeks, hipsters, and bikers dig it. You will too. Monster Energy is more than just the green OG. Monster has Monster Ultra, Juice Monster, Monster Hydro, Rehab Monster, Dragon Tea, Monster Max, Muscle Monster, and many more. Buy on Amazon, buy on Walmart, or go to monsterenergy.com and believe me, you'll find a place. Unleash the beast. Monster Energy.
You know the guy on Fox? I know you don't watch TV, but the one guy in the morning on Fox, he's only got, I think his knee down. Okay. It might be his whole leg. But, dude, I didn't know for like 3 years. Walks perfect. If they do a dance or something, dances, didn't know it. And then one day I think he was just sitting and his pant leg came up. And you could see it. Well, he does sprints. He beat, who is that fucking, the track guy? Bolt.
Usain Bolt?
Usain Bolt. He beat him.
What?
He beat him?
Yeah. But I mean, but he's got a lighter leg. You know, he's got a better foot maybe. But you could tell that, like, this Marine.
Really? Yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know how much he trained. You know, I didn't see him do it.
Right.
You know, they looked like he did it, but even if he didn't do it, he was fucking moving
Yeah.
for one leg.
Oh yeah,
You know?
that's crazy. Yeah,
And I just say to myself, man, when you think you got a rough day, you know, imagine not having a leg and then building it back to be able to do what these guys can do.
yeah. I mean, even an arm or something like that, dude. It's
Our
crazy.
arm is even
Yeah.
worse.
Like not being able to use your phone or just how that contorts your body, like where your muscles start pulling yourself.
And a leg you can hide more, right?
Yeah.
You can wear longer pants. You could do but arm, now everybody sees you and shit.
Yeah.
It's just a fucking nightmare. Scroll down a little bit. But when I first met you and it said the future of care and I saw a dog, who's gonna turn down a dog?
Right.
The toughest guy on the planet can't turn down a dog.
Yeah.
There they are. Keep going down.
That's my buddy Cody. He's awesome decoy. That's my buddy John. So John was the second personal dog that came in that we transitioned for him into a service dog. And that dog came to us. It was like 15, 16 months old. And, you know, he's a retired team guy. Great dude. You know, and the irony of that is like, I got a call one day from the individuals who said that they were going to assist in funding the dog to me. Later backed out of it. And then I was just like stuck with like, I'm just doing this dog now because I gave this dude my word where I'm not going to not back up with what I put out there.
Is it real expensive if you don't mind me asking?
And it's about $3,500 a month, which
A month?
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, dude, you start breaking it down, look at the numbers. That's not that bad, you know, and that's training and everything, you know, and, you know, as far as the time that goes into it and what we were doing and where you have to bring them and all of that, the gas, the expense, and just moving dogs around.
I'll tell you what sucks is this farmer's food or something my ex-wife makes me get.
Oh, really?
Fucking,
Oh, it's like $250 a month.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
She needs to find a new dog food.
So, but he was told that he should not even, you know, own a goldfish, and I was like, yeah, well, guess what? I don't answer to you. Like I told this dude, I'm giving him my word that I'm doing something.
You can't own a goldfish.
And I was like, all right, well, here. I was like, no, it's not me.
And what kind of, like, is there a story where there was a guy that was just really banged out and a dog just changed his life?
Him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So that dude, after that, now he's married, 2 kids, fucking excelling in life, like just crushing
just from the
it.
dog.
Just from the dog in over a span of 5 years, as far as the success of where he's at now.
And how bad was he prior to that?
He was in a spot where you know, this is, you know, had a lot of pressure coming from a lot of different angles. And that dog was something that he was able to lean on and to get him to the next space. So it was huge for him.
That's amazing. You know, this AI program, they found that birds talk to each other, dogs talk to each other, like they really decoded. They're on like the 17th animal where they know they're talking, they know some of the words, but the AI isn't there enough yet.
Yeah.
It needs to like watch it more or whatever. But they talk to each other. They really do.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild.
Yeah.
But once you go on a little experience, you go, no, I believe it.
Oh yeah.
I believe it.
Oh yeah.
Scott's up next.
So he did mine with me. He did an experience with me where, dude, he's just like, he's just this energy ball, and it's just like, dude.
He did it?
Oh yeah. Well, he was present when I was.
I give him a little gummy.
Dude,
Will I kill him?
No, I don't think so. No, but I mean, if they lick you, here's the thing. It's like if they lick you, they're still getting some of it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, with the mushrooms, although they made me a maniac as far as like inside, just like mania, like ugh. My dogs acted different.
Yeah.
I think it changes your frequency and everything like that.
Yeah.
I went down the frequency rabbit hole and all this other shit. But it all makes kind of sense to me.
No, dude, I picked a card when I was doing a thing where it was like, you know, an animal, like what animal resonates with you. And mine was like coyote medicine. I was just like, what the fuck? I was like, damn, like this is on point. Like, yeah.
Scroll down a little bit. Oh, he's cool.
So that's a dude that has a 7.5% body fat. That would be obese.
What? Click on that. Click on that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he's considered obese.
He's considered obese.
Get the fuck out of here. See what I'm saying? These bullshit guidelines.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's real
obese,
obese
huh?
with a shredded shoulder. I can see his tricep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Must be eating a lot of McDonald's,
Right.
huh?
Shout out to Layla,
Right there.
the little girl. Yeah.
I thought that was Giabella, my daughter, right? It looks just like her up top there. That's so cool.
Those are our
Wow.
partners over at Palm Beach Stem Cells. So if you guys ever need stem cells, those are
Yeah.
the dudes. Like, bro, that's that. I had an injection in my foot.
Boom.
A couple weeks later, fuck, like unbelievable.
Go back up one, Scott. The stem cell right there.
Yep.
Yeah, we got to talk to them. Oh, is that I know him. He had Revive.
Yeah, he was
Before
there.
that-
Yeah,
oh,
he
I
was
had
there.
him on a long. He was like number 26. Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, he's a
Yeah.
cool fucking.
Dude, he's a solid. I'm going out to. I'm meeting up with them after this.
Oh shit! Tell
Yeah.
him I said hi.
I will.
Tell him I'm gonna text him.
Okay.
Maybe you guys could both come on.
It's
No, he's a cool mother. He's like
Yeah.
you, a cool fucking dude.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man. We linked. So I linked up with him when we got back from. We did a medical retreat up in Nantucket. And when we got back, a dude put us in contact. My buddy Tom, who was working with him also, and we just hit it off. And now we're they're going to be one of our partners moving forward to do the HRT side. And then this way, we're trying to figure out now next, like, what's the scale with stem cells, so that because it is still pricey and it's expensive. So we're looking at progressive medicine, like what's going to be the best case? Who's our ideal candidate that we're going to be able to support in providing stem cells to? So we got 2 guys that are coming down the first week of April that we're going to be our first candidate for. Okay, no shit.
That's
Yeah,
what I had
fucking
of that.
awesome.
He
Yeah.
was number 3 years. That was wow. He was like the 11th one I did.
That's awesome.
Yeah, look, that's
yeah,
him.
that's
right?
back. Yeah, that's way back.
Yep. And Ben, he is not one that doesn't. He gives the anti estrogen and all that.
Yeah.
He's not a
Yeah.
dirty.
Yeah,
he's
no,
a
he's
great
solid.
guy.
He's
Great
solid, dude.
guy. Great guy.
Definitely attention to detail.
Oh yeah. Wow. Phew. That's so funny. Small world.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got the sunglasses on it.
Yeah.
See now, you bring say you got a struggling vet, right? Or
Yep.
just somebody with an issue. You bring a dog up with the sunglasses on. Nah, how hard you are.
Yeah.
Maybe you act like fuck that dog, but inside you're
Yeah.
like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple more times.
Yeah, he ended up winning. I think whatever he won out at the Cry Party this year out in Vegas at SHOT Show. There was like a costume party that dog ended up winning.
And what's the best way for people to sponsor? The economy's all fucked.
Yeah,
And we said this
Yeah.
last time, but I think it was more fucked last time you were on. I think it's a little bit better now because the election's around the corner. So, even if I always say, if you got $10, $20, it all helps, right?
yeah. I mean, the best way you can help us is, hey, follow us, like us, just see what we're doing. We're definitely different than some other organizations. We work with a lot of great people, and it doesn't cost anybody anything to just like the page, and then it's like shit. Even if it's $1, like for us, it's everything adds up over time. So if whatever people can do to donate or support or come out and volunteer or just call up and say, hey, look, I'd like to touch base and talk and just hear about more what you have going on, so they can have one-on-one with whatever. Then I'm more than happy to be able to do that, and more than grateful for anything that comes in, because it's where we're going, what we're trying to do for the bigger picture of this is it's not for an individual purpose, right? Like, we're not here to cut ends. Are we trying to provide ends meet for folks who want to believe in this and who are going to be able to do this, that are highly qualified to do this? Yeah. Like, you need to bring in and generate enough revenue so you have quality folks that believe in what we're doing in this system and setup, so that they can go out and they're take care of other people. And some of them are taking price cuts and pay cuts to be here because of what they believe in. But at the end of the day, it's like, dude, I haven't taken a salary in fucking 8 years of this thing. And for me, it's not about that. Like, most of the dogs that I've done were essentially given away and were my therapy, so that I could provide the other services that we were doing with, the blood and the hormones and just the deprivation tanks, PT, massage. I would rather pay for that and get those, because the dogs for me were a stress relief and how I could get those out there. So whatever anybody can possibly donate. If it's in a monetary value, then that's fine. If not, whatever. Just like and follow us. Check us out.
Like,
Come
check out when you can. That's what I would say. Even $1. You get 3 people, it's a gallon of gas.
Yeah.
When you're trying to build something out on your own.
Yeah.
$3 helps.
Yeah.
You figure you get 3 of them, $9. You get 10. It all works out.
Yeah. Just the exposure alone to fall into the algorithm of I hate social media, by the way.
Yeah.
Like fucking can't fucking stand it.
I post and ghost.
Yeah.
I can't even get the real size right.
Yeah.
Everybody yells at me that it doesn't fit, it cuts off. I hate the shit. I see what it's doing to people.
Yeah.
You can't even have a conversation with somebody in public because they're looking down.
Yeah.
You need it for business nowadays, but
Yeah.
I hate it. And this is a big thing I don't understand. You turn on the TV that like more and more people don't have cable. I just hear it all the time. I'm pretty soon not going to have it. But you see, wounded this, wounded. You have all these commercials.
Yep.
And I say to myself, why the fuck are the citizens taking care of our veterans when the government, federal government, is sending our people over to do crazy shit they shouldn't even be doing, in my opinion, things they shouldn't even be involved in. And then there's commercial after commercial for citizens to then help because they're not helping.
Yeah.
And then with that is tons of fraud.
Yep.
So when you were on last time, I must have got 400 emails. Is it real? Is this a real one?
Yeah.
Because out of however many streams or whatever, 300 or 400 people must have got burned where they signed up for like an $8.99 thing. And 3 years later, they realize, shit, I've been paying $8.99, and then it comes out that $1 of the $8.99 went to the actual cause.
Yep.
Which is just crazy.
Yeah.
So then you have the government not taking care of their people. Yep. Then the citizens are trying to make up for what the government's doing to then get ripped off.
Yeah.
So then it's like what?
Yeah. I mean, the best part, it's do due diligence, right? Like look at what people are putting out. And see what the message is. And you can pull up on IRS's, like if you go to irs.gov, you can pull up charitable and look at 990s. And you can track as far as who's making what donations and where the money's going. A lot of times what people say is, well, how much money is going to cost? Well, listen, if it's, I look at the benchmark, if it's over 50%, that's a solid number because you still have to pay for a web host. You still have to pay for someone to manage the site. You still have to pay, we recently went into doing more of our marketing ads because of the buildup to get this property that we wanted to do. So people needed to see what we were doing because for the longest time, dude, I was it. Like just me.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody else fucking doing training the dog. I'm only one I don't have fucking, octopus arms where I can sit there, record myself, do this, edit, and then now I'm on the phone making phone calls, working, curating relationships and donor base. Like it's an entire
operate, and you're not a celebrity.
Yeah,
I'm not a no name.
I'm nobody, dude. I'm fucking just a dude that was like, hey, I got out of the Marine Corps, I had a good time, I learned some shit, I saw some shit, I was lost for a little bit of time. I'm telling my story through the work that I'm doing because I genuinely give a shit about the people that I want to help. And I see that there's a deficiency in the system that can be corrected with little to no strings attached to it to where, hey, what can we do to provide a better service? Because I don't know why, like you see how much money is getting thrown around. And it's appalling that we have all these other issues on hand, none of them being addressed, and we're just going to carry on. Like all the shit TV that we watch, how many millions of dollars those folks are getting paid for airtime, and it's like what the fuck?
Well, like if you haven't watched TV, go to the homeless vest tab. Now how does to 3 over it says homeless vest at the top. So when you see that they took, this is from 20, but they're still doing it now. Homeless vets are being.
You see the one in Maine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how does that make you feel? I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah, it pisses me off, but at the same time, what's the reason why they're homeless, right? Some dudes want to be.
Yeah.
Right? And then is it a mental health thing? Like what's the root cause? Like why are we not identifying that?
But like here, if you scroll down in this article a little bit, somebody had called and they had said, keep going. right under this thing, I think. Right here, they called. One of the vets called me on Sunday. He told me he had to leave because the hotel said the extended stay was not available.
Yeah.
Then I got another call because they put the migrants in.
Yeah.
So these are people who want the help. They
Yeah.
want to be there, and
Yeah.
they're saying, no, you got to go because the 10,000 we let through a day, we got to put them somewhere.
Dude, it's tragic. It's horrible.
And let me get this straight. You're kicking out people that fought for our country and
Yeah.
safety to let in people you don't even know who they are.
Yep.
Are they a terrorist? Or are they, what are they a part of?
Dude, it's mind numbing, and it's like but again, it cuts two ways, right? Should we be doing this? Absolutely not. Why are there homeless vets? Period.
Why?
Why? Like that should be off the board completely. For somebody who says I want to take this oath, and why can't our government at least provide some sort of subsidized housing in a location that can accommodate folks that are either in a really shitty place, maybe they lost everything, going through a divorce, just they're out on their own, they're trying to figure their shit out, or they want to be there where they just they're like fuck it.
But say you
But
made
give them something that they
Right.
can go to, shelter, give them something.
Anthony, say they were making progress,
Yeah.
right? Little progress.
And you just rip them out.
And now you said you got to get out for an immigrant.
Yep.
If that's me and
An
I've
illegal one.
yeah, an illegal one
Yeah.
at that, right? And if that's me going through it, and I'm like starting to feel a little bit better now, all of a sudden out of nowhere, I got to go for these illegals.
Yeah.
I'm right back where I started,
Yeah.
and now I might lose it all the way now,
Yeah.
because I had hope and now you just took it.
Yeah.
And they just sit up there like da 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 da.
To them, it's numbers, dude. They don't.
And you hear about it one day, and it goes away,
Yeah.
and then we're on to Ukraine and Israel and this and that, and who's gonna do what,
Yeah.
and girl sports and all this other shit.
Dude, it's not fair. It's not fair, and it shouldn't be that way because of the resources that are available. And unfortunately, the organizations that would be able to assist in something like this, it's like, what are they doing about it? Why are there so many roadblocks into being able to establish organizations that can provide tiny homes?
What's your best opinion? Why? There's a reason for everything. It's probably part of a big whole picture. But
I mean,
but
my opinion is, it's a greed thing.
Great, right?
Like, why? Like, there's no right. Like, there's just action, right? Like, there's got to be some sort of action. There's just no. I can't comprehend why. Because it's like, dude, these fucking people went off and did what you want them to do. They bought hook line. I bought hook line sinker to go into because my life was whatever where it was at, and I wanted something, a challenge to get me out, to put me into a better position. But I couldn't imagine having to go and deal with what we did, where we were at when we did it, to then come home and be in a position like that, and then have shit taken away. And like, oh, see you later. And then you're like, wait a second, what? I fought for everything, like voluntarily did all of this shit.
Give up my life, gave up my family.
And then you're
whatever.
gonna go do this, and like, and that's it. But dude, that just goes to show the disconnect between the government, where it's like, it doesn't matter left or fucking right. Like,
Yeah,
that right there is just like,
and then you see that, right? And then they're worried about climate change. They're worried about electric cars. They're worried about all this stuff, but they're not worried about. So what if Putin's wrong in playing a game and China does want to fuck us up? We're going to go up against China. I hope they're doing something in Antarctica.
Yeah.
Because my ex-wife's son is in the Marines right now, and he's getting out.
Yeah.
And I thought he'd be in there forever. And he said, this is crazy. He's like, this is just a bunch of pussies.
Yeah.
He's like, there's no, he said when he first had gotten in, there was structure. There was structure and this and that. And now if you get in an argument and somebody goes in the fucking Marines and says bullying or he did this, he's got to go run like 27,000 miles, or he can't go do whatever he needs to do, or has to do it again over bullying. What are you going to do in what are you going to do in another country? What are you going to cry bullying, Anthony?
Yeah. And I do the way they're shaping the military now, or it's not really going to need a conventional warfighter anymore.
Because they're going to use AI.
I mean, they already gotten rid of fucking.
technology.
Dude, the Marine Corps can't even buy fucking PT gear.
That's right.
So it's like, come on.
So do you think they have something ready to go to replace individuals? I mean, you would hope, right? I hope you got some type of backup plan as you let in 10 million gazillion people. What do you think? What do you think is with the Chinese people coming through the border? I've never even heard of like an illegal Chinaman. Have you? Like, is there, like, you know, you hear illegal Mexicans, whatever.
Well, I remember like anchor babies. You know what I mean? Like when they come over and they just have a kid, and then that's like now the kid's a resident, so the mother can't leave, and it's just like now the family continues to multiply.
Right, and they got 17,000 very good Chinese restaurants. You know,
yeah.
But
Not in Florida.
not in Florida. No, there ain't shit in Florida. You got to go up north for that. But you know, you never heard like China illegal immigrant. It was always, you know, whatever. So, what do you think is with that? And our government.
I think
like,
it's
come on in.
I think it's just padding the numbers
Yeah.
for the ballots, right? I think they said it was what, like 10 or 20 million folks
Yeah.
over the last 3 years that have just illegally come into this country. That's 6% of a 300 million people.
So you're letting all these people in just
That's
so.
fucking crazy.
Yeah, really.
And it's like if you look at the street, like the dude that they called obese, right? He's running a candidate as an independent for the city of San Diego. And dude, if you watch, it's fucking hilarious. Like he'll film, like, dude, you get people shitting on the streets all over the walls. Like when I was in the city up in New York for Operation Warrior Shields event, who those dudes are legit, they're real. You know, to be there and see dudes passed out on the street with fucking needles in their arm and needles just around them. It's like, that's not the city that I remember. I knew the inner city at that point in time was like, all right, it is what it is. You're going to come into rough neighborhoods. I think when I was growing up, it was Harlem, the Bronx, like, you know, fucking the Hell's Kitchen area. It's like, you just, all right, we're going to the Yankee game, and then we're going to get the fuck out of there, you know, and then that's it. And then we're going to go to Mulberry Street in the city, and then that's all Chinatown now.
Yeah.
That's, you got Mulberry Street's like a fucking, like, I don't even know. Like,
What is it?
It's like
back in my when I was growing up, Mulberry Street was
a neighborhood.
What's a neighborhood?
Yeah, now it's a strip.
Well,
like
you got Chinatown, and you got the Italian Fest.
Yeah.
You know,
the San Gennaro.
San Gennaro in the same area. So it's a multi-mix of everything.
Yeah, but now it's like the size of the fucking hallway.
Yeah.
Where it's everything else is Chinese around it.
Scott got fucking murdered on his house in New York.
Yeah.
It took him a year to fucking sell.
Yeah, I lost. I got.
But dude,
I
how
got
about
killed?
How about squatters in your house? Like they have more rights than you as a homeowner.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Like,
I don't.
Isn't that fucking crazy? Like,
I don't want to see that.
Isn't it crazy? Like, you like in New York. So my dad, he was getting rid of the Buddhist.
They piss in your house, right?
Well, squatters, they just stay there.
Oh, they just stay there.
Yeah,
They
never
just
leave.
Yeah, they don't leave.
Oh,
So in New
Well,
York,
then they don't arrest
in New York, if a school year starts and these people have kids, you can't fucking evict them.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
And squatters, they also take over like empty buildings. They just go in, even if they're condemned.
Yeah.
And they just go in, and they can't get them out.
So, did you just say if I go to work and I come home and there's some guy on my couch?
If you say, for instance, you have like an Airbnb,
Holy shit!
you have like an Airbnb, and
Yeah.
you're like, all right, we're going to be out of town for 2 months, whatever. I'm going to rent my place out and make some cash. That person, like in California, they're there, and we're not leaving.
There's nothing you could do.
And fuck, you can't do shit.
What the hell?
I'm like, and then you're still responsible for the mortgage.
What the hell?
Like, dude, this is the
Wow.
mind. Like,
this is I didn't know.
this is the crazy. Like now, all of a sudden, with all the theft that was happening in fucking California, they want to raise the minimum wage to $50 an hour.
I
It's like,
know.
dude, do you guys like take a fucking minute to step back and like analyze what you're talking about? $50 an hour, and how many billions of dollars did you just write off in the sense of loss because of theft that you didn't prosecute anybody? And that's okay.
It's okay.
We're just going to raise the wage to 50. Like, where who does your math?
Right. You're going to raise the wage. Okay, what do you think the company's going to do? They're either going to
Raise the
leave
prices.
or
Yeah.
they're going to make a cheeseburger $30.
Yeah.
It's almost there.
Yeah, it's almost there now.
Bro, it's crazy. Like, go to get coffee. It's like $8 for
Fucking
fucking coffee.
When everybody started getting raises after COVID, well, we need more money because we got to
Yeah.
work. We got to work. I go, wait a minute. My like you just said, my hamburger is gonna. You want everybody to make more money, but
Yeah.
when I was growing up, there's you work
A
for
tier.
your money.
Yeah.
You start out. I started out making $5 an hour or whatever it
Yeah.
was, $2 an hour. then you learn and you go up the tiers.
Yep.
you know?
And it gives you motivation to get up the tier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to make
Nobody
more
just
money.
makes
I want to make
$50.
$100,000. So what do I got to do? You got to do that. So
Right now, you just got to flip a hamburger.
go,
Yeah.
Yeah.
go do that.
What were those neighborhoods like when you were just up there getting raped on your house?
Well,
He got fucked.
where I
in.
lived, it was a good neighborhood, but
Yeah.
I mean, they're all the same. The South Bronx,
Yeah.
Harlem. I mean, they haven't changed. They're all the same. I mean, maybe they get better on the fringes,
Yeah.
you know. But when you get in, they're all New York overall has gotten a lot worse, you know, in the last 5 years. Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild up there now, dude. And it's sad.
And that Adams is, he's a funny guy, man. He's like, you see all of us? You see what we've all done? Yeah, you fucked the state is what you did. And now you
Yeah.
got Remington. They're moving out of New York. Remington Guns. Did you see that?
Is it New York or was it New York or PA? Or where?
No, it was New York.
New York?
New York, yeah. They left because at the Sandy Hook shooting, it was Sandy Hook, right?
Yeah.
So that gun was made by Remington, and they fined them $75 million or $35 million.
Yeah.
I think 75.
Yeah, that was a slippery slope.
And once that $75 million, they were like, sorry.
Yeah.
And, you know, towns like that from up north, up north.
Yeah.
You know, like in my town, it was Hershey.
Yep.
You know, when you got older, everybody went to the Reese's factory, the Hershey factory, or you went to the hospital, the Penn State University Hospital. That was the town.
Yeah.
And then warehouses. You know, Pittsburgh was the steel.
Yep.
That's what everybody wanted to do because that's where you made the money.
Yep.
Well, Remington, I think they had like 70,000 employees. That whole neighborhood's fucked.
Yeah.
Because that's what they know. They're
Yeah.
the same neighborhood forever, generation.
Yeah.
Just burying them left and right.
Yeah. And it's like we're at 30-something trillion dollars in debt.
Yeah. I mean, do you ever get out of that debt? Ever?
No.
Well, I don't know where we're getting the money to send over to these other places. Like where
I had an economist.
It's debt.
How do you say eco? What's that?
It's all debt. Whatever
Yeah.
they're sending, it's debt.
Well, I had this how do you say economist or whatever?
economists or
Yeah, economist. Yeah, and he was with Bloomberg, and he left Bloomberg because they were pushing him to one way, and he was questioning what is debt. Okay, you can print it anytime you want. So what is debt? Is there really even a debt?
yeah.
Like real
Yeah.
mine tickers, where you go.
Yeah.
Well, if you can just spend, print $3 billion whenever you want, is there even a such thing as
Yeah.
debt?
Well, what's the justice system right now? First, there wasn't a laptop.
Yeah.
Now there's a laptop. Now the laptop could be this. Now they proved that the laptop was here. Now all of a sudden, dude is too old to even understand who he is as a person, or can't stand trial because of his fragile state. But yet he can lead the free world.
Yeah, explain that.
And then we're gonna go and it's just like and I hate getting into politics because it's like I see both ends of the spectrum as just
We just want what's best.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but like when you
But
have
it's like if it smells like shit, looks like shit, fucking tastes like shit, it's not fucking caviar.
yeah,
What are we doing? Stop trying to spin this and twist this and take this off the market. Oh, it's sawdust, motherfucker. It's cocaine
yeah,
or ketamine. One of the two.
yeah. Let's not
It's
twist
like
and turn
fucking
it.
sawdust. What are we talking about here?
The guy goes in there and they go, her was his name.
Yeah.
And he put it out there and I was like, oh boy, they got a bullet coming for him. And he's like, if we take him to trial, they're going to think he's grandpa and you can't even try him,
Says who? He's running the country.
Right. So the guy can't fill a sentence, but you allow him to run the country.
There was a person I was dating where it was like, that's a stutter. It's a speech impediment. I go,
Speech
speech impediment. I go,
Wow.
that's
A lot
speech
more there.
impediment. Speech impediment?
And keep in mind, they're blasting this guy with drugs. They're like, this one might push him over, but we need him for 5 minutes. Make the cue cards bigger. You ever see the cue cards?
No.
They're fucking
Yeah.
huge. It says pause, say loud, don't answer. And you almost feel bad for him, because you're kind of watching a guy just fade out into la la land
Yeah, I don't feel
until
bad
you
for him.
realize what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah, I wish we could audit politicians across the board.
Mm-hmm.
What have you done? Because it's they're running these lawsuits against all these other we're paying for this too, by the way. Taxpayer money is going into these frivolous lawsuits where it's why are we paying for this? This should be something that's taken out of your election fund. Like, this should be something that's coming out of where you've gotten money from, not the citizens, not the people, because it's like, who's paying this back?
And let me rephrase that.
This episode is brought to you by Let's Get Checked. Are you the man your father was? Recent studies have shown that men's testosterone levels have dropped substantially since the 1980s at about an average of 1% per year. Think about how old your father was when he was born. For example, if he was 30, your testosterone levels could be 30% lower than his. Low testosterone levels can have all type of health effects on men. It can affect your mood, sex drive, memory, muscle mass loss, you name it. And yes, low testosterone is more common the older you get, but it can affect men at any age. So let's talk about today's sponsor, Let's Get Checked. You can order a testing kit that will be delivered to you in a discreet packaging with next day delivery. Once your sample arrives in the laboratory, confidential results will be available from your secure online account within 2 to 5 days. So, if you want to test your hormone levels without having to leave your home, visit trylgc.com/MSCS Media and get 25% off your test using the code MSCS Media. The link is in the description at the top.
I feel bad if he's got a grandkid, that doesn't know, and he's watching his grandpa, and he doesn't know that he's all fucking dirty, and he's looking up to his grandpa, and he's like, "What the hell,
dude?" I feel I don't have any. I have nothing for that.
He has got to be the dirtiest.
That's a whole family thing.
Listen, you want to talk about Rico? Listen to me. I mean, this is Rico. RICO times 1,000,000.
Yeah.
And a lot of my friends did a lot of fucking time for it. And this is some serious shit.
Yeah.
When you got the New York Times coming out publicly and saying they won't, like, the Democrats are saying, stop talking about Biden. You're not smoothing this over. And they're like, look, we're done with that whole thing. Like they're yelling at the Times or yelling at it because it's too obvious now. And what's he going to do? Not debate?
Yeah. He didn't debate last year.
And what about Kennedy? You don't give that guy
Dude, I would love to see a Trump-Kennedy ticket.
I would
Those
too.
two have an axe to grind, period.
Yeah.
Both of them. I mean, his dude's family was wiped out.
Yeah. That would be a good debate. But they won't even give the guy security.
I want to see them as run. I'd like to see them run together where it's just like, that on that ticket.
I had thought that for a minute because neither of them had taken shots at each other.
No.
But I don't think Kennedy would do it. I think Trump might. If Trump would do that, he'd be unbeatable. I think.
Unless he runs with his son.
Yeah. I still think. I do you think Biden's going to be their nominee?
Oh God, I hope not, man.
But do you think he is?
I don't see how he can.
But who are they going to have run?
Because he can't even be prosecuted at this time for clear crimes. This isn't even just like, hey, we're gonna sweep this under the rug. This is like, dude, like now we're making shit up as we go. And it's like it's a black eye for the judiciary system because look at how they're pounding Trump with shit that is, I mean, I hope the truckers continue to hold out. I hope they continue to just put that city to its knees. It sucks that people are going to be affected by it, but at the end of the day, it's like, dude, when are we going to just come together and just stop the shit?
I keep saying I think it has to be like a 9/11, like something real bad where people come together.
Yeah.
But then the problem is even then, everybody's together for a year or two and then it's the same bullshit.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to stand in, Scott?
I wish I knew, but all I know is you can't let him another 4 years.
No.
You can't give him another 4 years. It's like the man can hardly walk down the street.
Yeah.
You look at him after a press conference and he's got
But who do you put in?
I'm getting up there too, I know, but
Well, you can walk through the door and not fall over and you can say a sentence.
Yeah.
I don't have cue cards back there for you.
Well, you don't know that.
Yeah, it's bro, it's wild, man. I don't.
And then what do you think happens with Trump? Like they're trying to take his money. Do you think any of those indictments stick?
If he can't get it to the appellate court, if he can't get it to appeals, if he gets it to appeals, and then that's something that would be huge unless he can, have someone underwrite it.
But he's got to put the money up now,
Yeah, he's got 30 days.
even
Yeah.
before he appeals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
He's got to
unbelievable.
put it in the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, 350 million plus. He's got to put in.
But I think businesses are going to see that, and they're going to see how it's been weaponized. And I think New York is in for even
Oh yeah.
a tougher time than they're anticipating because
Well, when you have Laurie from Shark Tank
Mhm.
saying he will never do business in New York again, he's not the only one saying that.
yeah,
Dangerous game.
yeah. And I think and dude, I don't know, man. It's going to be very interesting to see what type of catastrophic event or what type of something is going to happen. Something. It's
We
hap-
do the pandemic.
They're already calling that like, oh, this is
Yeah.
going to come back and like
Yeah.
RSV, all this other. It's just like,
Dr. McCullough, who he's coming Friday,
Mhm.
but he was in September. He was in maybe May, June, maybe June, and he said the disease X, but he thought it would hit.
that's
in,
the one that they found down, or that's like zombie drug or whatever.
No, disease X it's kind of like COVID.
Okay.
It's like a derivative of it. But what happens is you get it and you end up with a dry cough.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you're hacking up anything, but it lays you on your ass. And you need everything. You need steroids, you need the ivermectin,
Yeah.
and hopefully one of them works.
Boosters.
Yeah, that will be the next thing.
Yeah.
But like he had gotten it. Peter already got it.
Yeah.
Because he's around this shit every day. So did it, some other ones. I think I may have too. And if you're older, right, and you cough but nothing comes up and it goes down to your lungs,
Yeah.
you're getting pneumonia and you're gone.
Damn.
And that's what this one does. It's a cough where nothing comes up
Yeah.
and it just goes to your lungs and you just feel like total shit. And then if you're an older person and not healthy or you have a pre-existing, good
Yeah.
night.
But it's like, what are they doing about the dude Fauci? like
Yeah.
like
Uh,
that dude killed more people than fucking Hitler.
Yeah, I think we're
Like,
fucked, man.
And nothing.
Well,
Sunset.
we were talking before that like everything evolves. Monkeys evolved,
Yeah.
we evolved. I think we're at the end. We went this technology route,
Yeah.
rather than more within, self,
Yeah.
family, people, and I just think we're at the end. We're just at the end of the ropes. We went so tech that we're just gonna destroy ourselves by ourselves.
Yeah. I think ironically enough, it's like I think if you look at the people who are big tech, where are they sending their kids to school?
Yeah.
Are their kids using phones? Are their kids using iPads? Are their kids using XYZ? Are there like where are we at today in the sense of these dudes developed this stuff, but yet are their kids using it?
Hell.
Is there are we using what is it, the Common Core or whatever that big push was for educational and all this other
Hell no.
Common Core? No, dude.
Fuck no. You know what they're doing? Homeschool.
Homeschool, reading out of a book,
Reading out of a book.
reading books,
Going to
yeah.
activities.
Not learning about sex education.
No, they don't even know what that is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely
I
positive.
mean, a fucking 4-year-old, like, come on, or what, third grade, fourth grade, we're teaching that now. Stop it.
Yeah. And going back to the psychedelics before you go.
Yeah.
So when like when you have something, they want to do all these tests. X-ray this, X-ray that. So I had found, like the airports, like say in the 1900s.
Yep.
Or early 1900s. So these ladies would go in and they would check the X-ray machine to make sure it works. Right. Pull up that picture of that hand. So every day these ladies would go in, turn the lights on for the airport, check the X-ray machine, make sure it works, blah, blah, blah. Fucking cook their hand. Their hand looks like zombie shit like you never seen. Look at that hand.
Wow.
That's a real picture too. So hand belonging to an X-ray technician in 1900 at the Royal London Airport. Look at her
Wow.
hand. And that's just from checking it every day. So when you go in there and they do that X-ray, I mean, it's doing something to you every time.
Yeah.
Right there's proof. The X-ray machine is no different then than now.
Yeah.
And what she was alluding to was, you get the X-rays, you get the chemo, you get this. None of it works, but these fucking psychedelics, they work.
Yeah.
They just work.
Yeah.
And they worked really well for you. For whatever reasons, mushrooms don't do shit for me. DMT got me, but I didn't get past the waiting room.
Yeah.
So for you, what led you to that? You got out, you had a rough time, right? Like, was it real bad from 1 to 10?
No, I mean, it was a purposeful thing, right? I was trying to find out, like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what is this? Right? I was lost. I was kind of just like in that.
You don't have a purpose anymore.
In that stage, it was just like, am I buying my own bullshit? Am I really fucked up? Like, why the fuck? Like, you're trying to deal with all these emotions, and that was difficult to kind of understand the filing system of what needed to be addressed, how it needed to be addressed, because through that transition period, everything was just all over the place. Like, it was chaos. And then I think last time I was on, I spoke about my blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, when I was home, when I was in the United States, my blood pressure was like 210 over 100 and change. Like, I was borderline ready to have a fucking heart attack.
I remember you said 210, and I was like, what? And I was like, what was the bottom?
But then when I was out in Afghanistan, it was like, 116, 120 over like 60 and change. So from that is like,
perfect,
for me,
perfect, yes.
Is like, when I'm there, cool. But when I was here, the chaos around not being able to control on a day-to-day, just traffic flow, it's just like, the little things, the little triggers that, try to figure out ways of interpreting that and what was needed, what wasn't needed. And then, for me, going into the psychedelics, and what was the point of that is, I had been fortunate enough to be around individuals who were very in tune with themselves to say, hey, look, listen, I'm going to step back. I am going to take this approach because this is the effects that it's had. This is the history of it. And that's when I began to kind of explore, understand, and learn more and educate myself on the benefits of it, as opposed to someone's going to take this and just go get fucked up and go to a festival. So for me, it was more on the lines of like, what can I do to truly assess where I'm at, and then to find a strategy, because I didn't trust all the other alternatives that were out there. Hence, Warriors Choice Fund, right?
Yeah,
so
right.
The opportunity to really kind of get down to the nuts and bolts, and that led to the insight of what was wrong, what was keeping me from being happy, the compartmentalization of, not just trauma or experience, but, the things that I hadn't dealt with way back in the day that were just lingering, as far as what motivated me to say, hey, well, you're just going to go to the Marine Corps, go do this. You're going to escape all this other shit. Like, there was no way that I dealt with all of that before. And, everything else over time, looking at military service, it's like, you're getting dudes and, from varying backgrounds and demographics, but it's just like, mostly the time it's broken families, something that happens, and, you're just kind of going with the flow, but you're never really dealing with any of your shit.
Right.
And then you're going to go off to war. Then you're going to go do this. Then you're going to see friends. Then you're going to make new friends. Then you're going to lose friends. And it's just like, you're going through this cycle. And then when you're done, it's just like, all right, well, I just did something that not a lot of people can do or could do or would do, but I did. And it's just like, all right, well, here's my new normal. And it's like, when people say coming back and, you got to find your balance. Your balance is different from my balance, is different from his balance, is different from like, come on. Like, so what's balance, right? Like, balance is like, where are we productive? And for me, having done psychedelics, it made me more productive into understanding boundaries. It made me understand means and ways that I could communicate. It enabled me to just respect myself more in a way, even the positive talk of like, hey, stop being a fuck bitch. Like, go do, like, hey, you know what you got to do.
Just do it.
You don't need to hype yourself up on this shit, dude. You know what you have to do. Go do it. Just be about it. And, for the longest time, like I suffered from imposter syndrome, even from doing, the work that we were doing, because I was neglecting myself.
What's imposter syndrome?
Just feeling like I am not supposed to be doing this. Mm-hmm. Like who am I? I don't have a PhD. I don't have any of these fucking, the alphabet
letters.
soup at the back of my name.
Yeah.
All I am is going on just the fact of real world, real life experience. So, if I'm going to get, crucified for the first half of the the show for whatever. This is an opinion with three guys talking and enjoying a conversation and just bullshitting
Hanging
back
out,
and forth,
yeah.
hanging out. Where it's like, at that point, it's like, dude, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that there's a deficiency in the system. That's all I'm saying. And to be able to step up and make a change, there was an insurmountable amount of pressure that was just building up into saying, dude, who the fuck are you to do this? And that was just like, it was cutting both ways, and I was burning myself out to prove to myself, like, oh, you can do this, overcome this, don't be a bitch, don't be a put, like, keep going, keep moving, keep pushing. And that was hard, man. That was a slippery slope. And I, after kind of recalibrating and being able to find out what that file system was, because when you do this stuff, it's like, dude, it's ripping up a lot of shit that you haven't dealt with, and you are you're getting a ton of dump trucks dumped on your lawn, and you're like, okay, well, what do I do now? Well, you better grade it. That's A, and start figuring out what you're going to do with it.
You know what that lady said to me? She goes, I don't know if I could say this on air, but she goes, because she kept looking at me like odd, like really looking at me. And she goes, I don't know if I could say this from the air, but you have some things to deal with. And I go, honey, you're not offending me. You're not telling me anything I don't already fucking know.
Yeah. But to come to that realization to where you bought into it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you had to take the time and be like, you know what? How much is what she's saying is true? Like, what about that is a true sentiment to where I need to be working towards
All of it.
Yeah. But it's like, what's a layup?
But you know what they do? They put all that fucking fear in you, right? Like, oh, you're gonna do it and you're never gonna come back. And if I didn't have bad luck, I'd have no luck.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm gonna be that guy that does this shit from the ground, and I'm gonna be more of a lunatic than I am now forever. That's what I kept thinking.
Yeah.
So going into it, I'm like, hesitant. Yeah. And you went real slow with it.
No, well, I mean,
didn't you microdose, or you just went right to the fucking...
I microdose. Yeah, I did
like
microdose. It was like 2 years, right? Like, I was
the hell,
because I was petrified. Like, I was scared. Dude. I was like, I don't know about that. Like, all this other stuff. I was like, all right, well, I mean, but then it started making sense. I was like, if these people who are drinking ayahuasca, doing DMT, like, they're tribal people. Like, they're a part of their community. They're this, they're that. Like, they're people who can work together. I mean, they're still living in the fucking jungle, right? With everything that we have around us.
Yeah.
They're still in the jungle, content and happy with what they're doing.
And oddly enough, for those people who like anti-aging, these people are like 100 years old and look 30.
Yeah.
They do.
No stress.
None.
But it's like they're still dealing with their shit.
But they deal with it in a different way.
Yeah, and they're honest with themselves too. And it's like, how do you find a way of just letting go of things that, again, don't serve you, don't allow you to grow?
Which one was it that allowed you to let things go?
It was 5-MeO.
Fuck. And that's the Tyson one?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's a toad.
All right. Tell me about that one. What did that one do to you?
That one was just...
I watched that one, and I said, what the fuck happened? He goes...
That was taking everything in, and just, like, ripping it apart, just chaos, like throwing a grenade in a room, and you got to go in like, all right, I gotta put this back together.
Where is it?
Yeah, like...
All right, so take me through it. So that one, you smoked that one too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so is that one hit, you're gone, or how? I think he did.
Yeah, so you figure out what a dose is, and that's all the experience on the individual that you've vetted, and you're putting trust into, and then from there it was take it in, inhale it in, you're waiting, you're holding, and then you just kind of fall back, and then it's just like you're here, but then you're everywhere, dude. Like you're going through shit where it is.
So like regular DMT, you could sit right here and you could still see the room. Looks a little weird, but you can still
open your eyes and still pop out of it. Yeah, it's still the same. It's still the same premise of that. But this is just more of like with DMT. I think it was a little bit slower into it. This is just like a fucking cliff. Like you're just like.
And I know it's hard to explain, but could you explain it? Get his eyes.
Like it's think of, riding a moped, and next thing you know, you're on a ballistic missile. Like, you're going from here, then bye.
Gone.
Like, super hypersonic. Like, you're just, see ya.
And where did it take you? What'd you see? What'd you
First
feel?
couple times, dude, I fought it. First few times, like, I didn't know.
Now, when you fought it, did you have that horrible
It
feeling?
was purging. I was purging. It felt, it was deep, and there was a lot of just anger coming up, where it just kind of felt like just this black cloud, this soot of just, almost like a dry heave, but it was just like getting up that tension and that built up pressure. And my deep dive, I kind of just fell back, and everything kind of just faded. It was just black with like a white light very
White
far.
light. Everybody sees the white
But
light.
this was just like, this was
Little one.
a speck. And I
Yeah.
was like, whew, that's a long fucking,
Did it take you to the spec?
No. So after that, I kind of came back. So I was out for about 15 minutes.
Oh.
And then from there, I just kind of popped my eyes open, and I thought like that was it. Like that was the crossing, or that, but little did I know, like, now, like that was at the doorstep of like, you're at the door, but you ain't there yet.
Oh, that was just the waiting room?
That was the waiting room.
Oh,
That was a lot.
shit.
After that, I was like, the next couple of times that I had to go, I was just like, I don't know about this. Like, I don't want to. This dude, like, I was.
This is a combat Marine vet.
But it was just tough, dude, because it's like you're going through this experience where you have no idea. There's no conception of like where it's, because you're dealing with all of your own hidden shit. Like, you're facing that person in the mirror, and that's where you're crossing over to. And it's like, even after that, I tried to talk to some of the dudes, and one of the guys that.
But when you knew you crossed, what did you see and feel? When that time when you went, pew,
I saw him. I saw my dog.
your dog.
I did. I saw this faint little shadow, and I was just like, I was kind of focusing in on it. And it was just like he was in the corner. I don't know if it was a coyote or if it was a wolf or whatever it was that came to me in that moment. But when I got home after that trip, after I had to fly, I was just like, that was a whole fucking other process where I was having a nervous breakdown.
After the trip?
After the intensive trip, I had to fly back, and I didn't realize that it was all still very fresh.
Oh,
So
it
when I was
doesn't
going
just
through
go away like
No,
that.
so for me, this was like,
you went on a
few
fucking
hours.
airplane with that?
dude, I was so
Oh my
fucked.
God.
I was talking to a homie. I was like, dude, I just need to hear your voice right now because I got to get on this plane. I got to go like 8 hours, dude. And I'm
Oh
like,
man.
I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. And I'm like, he's like, well, I'm like, so I strapped myself in and
Take off.
just breathing, just so. But when I got back home, the reception that I had with him, I was like, dude, was that you? And like, when I tell you the connection that he and I had at that moment, he blew his coat like I had never seen before. And the excitement and the ability for him to roll around and toss around, and just where I was in the front seat, because I told my mother, I was like, listen, not right now. I got to work through some shit. I'm having a hard time just sleeping, because it's like, you close your eyes, you're like, dude, did I like fuck?
But like when you close your eyes and you say, I had a hard time sleeping, so people understand, like, what was it that got you?
The medicine, I mean, it's still working, right?
Right.
It's still working its
Mind
way
fucking
into
you.
your brain. It's not really mind fucking, but it's still present, showing you what the journey is, and you're still kind of connected to all those areas of your brain that you've never tapped into before. And it's dude, it's so hard to kind of put into context of just think about, again, being able to, look at your brain and just know that I'm connecting to the frontal, the parietal, the temporal, the everything in a way that you're overloaded with information. But when I got back and it was him, man, it was just like, that was you. And it was just, again, every time I asked, and then it was like the connection that we've had ever since then has been very dynamic, and it's changed a lot for just the better of, and especially him turning 10. Like, I know there's limited time left, and it's like, it's helped me kind of understand that he served his purpose for me at this point. He's going to continue to serve his purpose up until the point where he can no longer do that. But I've accepted the fact that he's kept me going and he's provided me with this, but he's also provided so many others that he's interacted with a very similar opportunity because of his offspring and what we were able to do. And it's like, dude, I owe him. He's the one that kind of created all this.
And did you have Warrior's Choice prior to that experience?
Yes.
You did.
Yes.
But then after, you really went in hard.
Yeah. And after that, my mother was like, I think I have my son back. Like, that was the first time that she said that.
Wow.
And I didn't realize how far gone I was, but it's like, I did realize, because I was also tried in certain areas that would normally, my fuse was just I don't have time for this. Like, I'm trying to work, I'm trying to build this company, I'm trying to do all this other stuff and be able to be in a position where we're providing a high level of service for folks that need it. And I didn't know what I needed for myself, because I kept pushing it off and I wasn't in tune and I wasn't intact. But then after that experience, I was just like, whoa, now it's time. I got to step back. I got to see this. Like, I got to really kind of pay attention to this, because it was like an unshackling of emotions. And like, I no longer have this pit of anxiety that just, that was resting, in my little solar plex. But it's like, the other half of it was, being able to create boundaries and identify things where it's like, yeah, I still have shit I got to work on. Like, it's not a fucking magic pill. It doesn't solve everything. You have to go into it with intent. If you have no intent, and you're just doing it to sample it or seeking a quick fix, like, don't like, and I'll never push on anybody, but I know I'll recommend research it.
Yeah, I mean, any shaman will tell you that this is not a thing to play with.
No, you're inducing a subconscious death.
Right.
Is what you're doing. Subconsciously, you're killing yourself. You're committing suicide subconsciously. So that there was the first time for me after, like, I think it lasted about 4 months, where I didn't have so much like chatter.
Chaos.
Like, I wasn't manifesting things. I wasn't worried about shit that didn't matter, that didn't happen. I wasn't concerned with things that weren't going my way, or that, me playing the, like, why are they doing that? I'm doing that. Like, I didn't have that anymore, where it's like, look, man, that's when I just started hunkering down.
That's the ego death, right?
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's recognizing what it is first. Cause not only, like, you it's a balance, right? Like, you need an ego to push yourself and strive, but it's gotta be in check. It's gotta be in line. Cause you see people with fucking overinflated egos. It's like, dude, fuck, why are you gonna be an asshole?
And also maybe for guys like us, the ego, where we can take on 7,000 things at once, but no one can.
Yeah.
But our ego says, yeah, we can.
Yeah.
I was in the Marines. Hey, I did a podcast. I did this. I did that. All right, give it to me. I can do it. And then you just kill yourself.
Yeah.
What's odd is, do you know that there's more brain cells in your stomach than your brain?
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And the only two places DMT is in your stomach and your brain. And do you know where it's at in your brain?
Pineal.
Yep, right in your visual.
Yep.
So everything you see is because of the DMT. Low dose, but right? And that goes back to that Hoffman that I always bring up, that says that this is all created by conscience, that none of this is real. And then if you take that with, do you know who Billy Carson is?
Yeah.
He's the one who came out publicly about the stone tablets.
Yep.
And you can decrypt them and it tells you everything. I mean, you can't really lie about that, even if you want to exaggerate it. But he had said that you download and upload, like download, upload. And when you do the DMT and the psychedelics, you get out of the video game, you get out of the metaverse, and you're into that other side where you can really download. And now that I've talked more about it, I've experienced it a little bit, not as much as I want to, but I think he's 100% right.
Yeah.
Because how could you pass over, and you literally download to your brain, or whatever you want to call it, you download what is going to make your life better and a better person and a better life while you're here, it seems. And everyone I know that's taken off, they're very calm and maniacs before.
Yeah.
And some of them I know, very calm. And if you ask them something like, hey, do you want to get into business with me with this? Let me think about it. I think about things, 17 years, I worked 10 million hours.
Yeah.
Every single person I know that took off, whenever I see them with business or even to hang out, every time they say, I think about it. Now me, I'll be like, yeah, I'll be there. Sure. And then I try to find a way to do this and do that.
Yeah.
It's just very odd what I see from people who took it seriously and really had a result from it.
Yeah.
Totally different people.
Yeah.
And, something I want to be, but I just got to get past the fucking waiting room. But I fight it, dude. I fight it like a maniac.
Yeah. That you just gotta, it's one of those things where you just gotta, be around, get the right shaman and let go.
But the regular DMT didn't do it. It didn't take you to the fixing point. You had to do the toad.
Yeah, and it was tough because, dude, I was like, I was like, all right, well, I was gonna do ayahuasca initially first. And I was like, I'm gonna go. All right, let's do this. But then it was like, well, I'm like, that's 12 hours. That's a lot, and then the travel time. Go to Peru, go to places where it's done the correct way. And I was just like, and then the opportunity arose where, all right, well, here's this chance. And then I was looking at it, and I was like, the ego death. I was like, yeah. I gotta shave that shit down.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think that's kind of where I need to be. And after doing it, a lot of the noise was off. And, to confront things in another way where I could literally deal with a problem that was right in front of me, but ultimately back myself out and look at the 10,000 foot overview of what that battlefield looked like, or what that situation looked like. I could have just simply all right, well, if I do this, here's how my response is going to be. Here's how it's going to lead me down this corridor. This is what here's my expectations. And it just made it to where things I could slow down in real time and really kind of be present in those moments.
Aaron Rodgers is coming in April.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to know what psychedelics he took through that rehab.
Yeah.
Because he had said it publicly, so it's not like I'd be cornering him,
Yeah.
that it really helped with the recovery. He was going to play. You know what? He was going to play if they were winning.
Yeah.
I think he's a little fucking nuts, but I don't know if he'd do that with an Achilles. I mean, might want to wait.
Yeah.
But he had to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pull up the if you on there where the kid cut off his dad's head and ending. This is how wild this place is. And if you have any idea what the ultimate goal is other than take us out, so this fucking kid decides that his dad was an FBI agent. And he decides that his dad's a traitor, his dad's with LGBT, blah, blah, all this crazy shit. Cuts his dad's head off, films it, and says, this is what happens with traitors and everything else. Man accused of killing father, posting decapitated head on YouTube. Scroll down. And then it keep going down. You can see right there. In the video, back up. Right there. In the video, Moan picks up his father's decapitated head and states, he is now in hell for eternity, according to the criminal complaint. He also refers to his father as a traitor, calls for the death of all federal officials, and attacks Democratic President Joe Biden, the Black Lives Matter movement, the LGBTQ, which they got plenty more letters now, community, as well as Antifa activists. I mean, is that wild or what?
Dude. People are nuts.
Maybe you should have taken him to get some therapy.
Well, did you see the one dude that wrapped rubber bands around his genitalia and had it
he
fall?
did what?
Yeah.
He did what?
All I have to say is, ouch!
So he basically castrated himself with rubber bands and made himself so that he was wrapped until it fell off.
So he wrapped his dick around until there's no more blood in his.
Yeah, and just waited and then just continued to tighten rubber bands, and then it popped off.
And that's okay, I guess, right?
That's not a mental health issue or anything. I don't see it as that, but
I mean, no problem.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's crazy.
So does this ever get any better? No, it ain't
Dude,
getting better, man. We know the answer. It's just a matter of how long. It's how long.
Dude, weather the storm.
Weather the storm, right?
It's just it's
one day at a time.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There is, yeah. I'm just gonna go do me, and find the supporting cast that is my tribe, and find my people, and kind of just continue living that life where whatever doesn't serve me is away from me. I continue finding great people, and to see where they're at and how they're helping people and how they're just pushing and promoting like it's just. That's the space I'm in right now, man. Like, I don't have time for the bullshit. I don't have time for the dick measuring contest. Like, I really don't give too much thought into.
Fuck the political.
I don't. I mean, it just.
That's the way to be, man.
Yeah, I guess it's. I wish there would be more of an inclusive environment to kind of be a part of, where things weren't this just like, you couldn't just have a conversation with somebody where it's like, well, why do you think that? Tell me more. Like, and have actual engagement, not feel like you're ripping somebody down because you disagree with them.
Yeah. And that's all we do. Like, Elon just got a chip in a human yesterday. Do you know it?
Well, I thought he was the first dude to do it.
Oh, I don't. Well, Elon might have one, but he's not being public about it.
Crazy. Yeah, it's nuts.
But like, a regular person did it, and they did it, they put it in, he can move the mouse without touching it. Bluetooth. Telepathic. But if you can do that, right, that kind of tells you, in my opinion, that's how they did the pyramids, but without a chip.
Right.
I think they get
pyramids for sure.
I think they got to the telepathic level.
Yeah.
And the vibrational level, like your dog knew your frequency was different when you came home. I think that's how they did everything. I think they did it with psychedelics. That's how I think they got there.
Dude, it's wild.
Just like these crazy fucking guys. 2,000 years ago, these fucks from all over the world are looking for these vessels, like horse, boat, for these vessels everywhere. 2,000 years ago. And we find these vessels that have traces of ergot, psilocybin, but the good shit.
Yeah.
Not the synthetic shit, like the good shit, right? And they think that when they were searching around and finding them, I mean, it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
That's what created democracy and voting, and that's how that came out, because prior to that, there wasn't any of it.
Yeah.
But these people, I mean, they were going like addicts, looking for these vessels, breaking them, looking for this juice, and they think that's like the Jesus Christ thing, and then that's how democracy and all this other shit happened that we're now destroying. So maybe they should eat some shit.
Yeah. Unplug from the matrix for a little bit.
Yep.
Download some shit.
All right, we'll have your website up front. Let's get some followers. $1 donations are fine.
Anything.
10,000 are even better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
check out our events. We need sponsorships opened for a variety of lane sponsors for the CrossFit event, fitness competition. If you're an adaptive athlete, check us out. If you know anybody who's an adaptive athlete and they want to come out, there's still time to register. The event is April 6th and 7th, so just after Easter. And then set your schedules for November 17th, 18th, that weekend, and that Monday. It's going to be, we're looking to put on 144 golfers, so we'll have the entire course. So that's a thing. It's like we have plenty of spots opened.
We'll go.
I think
I'll golf. You want to golf? Come on.
Yeah.
So we're,
you don't have you can walk.
Yeah, right.
We'll have carts.
You got to get a little more banged up, Scotty.
Yeah. But we'll have a bunch of good dudes there. A lot of guys that I've worked with that'll be able to sit there and provide testimonials for what we've done and how we've provided for them. And if there's any questions or doubters, and if you're getting emails, I mean, just be happy to forward them to me, and I'll be more than happy to touch base. And just like I had nothing to hide in that. So I'm just here to try to do something and bring to life a vision that I see that was successful for me in an alternative way that I think could resolve some of the issues and provide purpose and, be used across the board. So follow us, like us, don't like us.
Just check us out.
Just check us out. I mean, whatever, don't like me for what I say. Like, dude, it is what it is, man. You're not going to make everybody fucking happy. And I've come to terms with that, where whatever, but I still love and appreciate everybody. So appreciate y'all and appreciate you, dude, for having me out here.
We're
and
part of your tribe too.
Yeah.
And anytime you want to come in,
Dude,
more than welcome.
tell me more about the Go pills too when you check those
I
things
will.
out. So
Tomorrow I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you first thing tomorrow. Believe
Yeah.
me.
Check those
Believe
out.
me.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna reach out to Ben. Maybe you and Ben can come in.
Let's do it.
That'd be
yeah.
fun,
And
yeah.
dude, if you want me to get that guy on
Yeah.
and tell him.
Please do.
For sure.
Yeah. And we'll do all that. So everybody check it out. And hopefully you get back in here in a month or two and just keep coming by and let's keep it going, man.
Yeah. Let's do it.
And go to the website. Sponsor is the tab up top there. So sponsor it no matter what it is.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
And the hats are cool. This hat is badass.
Yeah,
had
I
to
got
put
to
the
bring. I got to
stickers
bring you a
back
couple more. We just got a couple more with the black on blacks are dope.
Yeah, with the red.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're badass, man.
yeah,
And the t-shirts. And by the way, he is right. The t-shirts do fit. So if you want to have your little brother's t-shirt, they are your little brother's t-shirts, so you'll look better.
yeah.
And if you're a little, ate too much McDonald's, there's ones for that too.
Yep,
And
yep.
they're soft. I'm
We
not
got
bullshitting because it's
stickers.
here.
Yeah, we got sticker. I mean, everything. So it's just hit us up and whatever we don't have. We're hoping to do some drop shipping. So I don't know if anybody's doing drop shipping that could put us a lead, put us in front of people so we can get more
Printful.
merch. Yeah,
Printful.
Printful.
That's the best one.
Okay.
Yeah. Fuck Vista Print. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, we'll do that, Anthony. And thank you so much.
Yeah,
again
dude,
for your
appreciate
time.
it, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you for everything.
Yep.
All right, guys.